Its leading receiver Sterling Shepard will miss the remainder of the season with a torn ACL suffered in last night's loss to Dallas. Cowboys starting quarterback Dak Prescott, inching closer to a return, had surgery to remove stitches on his injured right thumb, told ESPN's Lisa Salters he could be back in a couple of weeks and is not ruling out this Sunday's game against Washington as a possible return. First Take host, Stephen A. Smith.
When Dak is ready, you play Dak. Now, you don't rush him back. You make sure he's 100% if you win a football game. But we know Cooper Rush ain't no damn Dak Prescott. Let's not get that twisted. We understand that that's not the case.
Stephen A. on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Dak's return to action is predicated on his grip strength. An independent accountability resolution process hearing panel concluded that Memphis basketball coach Penny Hardaway did not violate any NCAA rules when he provided benefits to 3 prospective student athletes because of his long-standing charitable actions in Memphis. The Tigers were placed on 3 years probation and fined, but did not receive a postseason ban. The benefits were provided in 2017 before Hardaway became Memphis's head coach.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
The bottom line is he was the 6th overall pick in the draft. He's not the future. The Giants are going to move on from him this year. He's a very, very good backup in the league, it looks like to me.
This and more. Wednesday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR. Presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musu. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Peter Burns in about 15 minutes. Maddy Hudak next hour. Talk about some film study with the Saints through 3 games now. A lot of questions about Jameis Winston. We talked about it a bunch yesterday on the show, and the recurring question seems to be, is it decision-making? Is it the injury? Is it just accuracy? I want to delve into some of that with Maddy 1 hour from right now. Sean Salisbury in hour 3, so we're looking forward to that. Hey, Muse.
Yo.
Did you watch Monday Night Football?
I did watch Monday Night Football. Yeah, I did. Well, halfway. First half was just absolutely atrocious.
Did you catch the final?
I did see the final score, yeah, 23-16. Ooh.
Easy for you to say.
Right, exactly. Breezed through that one.
Who won?
The Dallas Cowboys won, Matt. Some would say America's team, though some would be wrong, but some might say that.
Who was quarterbacking Dallas in that game?
Dak Prescott's backup.
Does Dak Prescott's backup have a name?
I wouldn't know. No, I don't know. I think he's pretty, I don't think he's that well known.
I know his name.
Oh, do you?
Known him a long time.
No, you haven't.
Dear friend.
No.
Been a big supporter.
Wrong.
From day one. My boy Coop, 21-31 for 215, a tutty, and no interceptions out there. Doing what he's done since he and I were growing up side by side on the mean streets of Lansing, Michigan.
You grew up in New Orleans.
Not true. I was born in New Orleans.
Oh, you were born in New Orleans.
I lived there till I was 7, and then I moved to Baton Rouge.
It's not Lansing.
Well, we would take
actually very far from Lansing.
We would spend our summers there.
No,
that's how we first became acquainted.
And that did not happen ever.
And I'm going to tell you what, I couldn't be more proud as if Coop was my own brother. Sometimes, that's what I call him sometimes. I call him brother because he feels like it. That's how close we are.
You
how long
know
we've known
his
him.
name. You have never met him.
Factually inaccurate. I'd like to see you prove it. Prove that, Muse.
I'd like to see you prove that you have been.
You're the one who's making the
picture?
accusation, friend. You're the one who's making the accusation. The burden of proof falls upon the accuser, and you're saying I don't know him, so I need you to prove that I don't. That's exactly what I thought. And boy, Coop, just keep going out there and doing what we always did back on the playground back in the day, Coop. Just keep doing you. Scoring them dubs, throwing them touchdowns, and such. Muse is just a hater. That's all there is to it. All right, Peter Burns, congrats to Cooper Rush, my dear friend, Cooper Rush. What?
You don't know him.
Boy,
we go through this way more than we ever should.
I love all the tweets, too, every single time Coop does something. They just remind you. They remind you, Muse, of just how wrong you are. Hey, we're keeping an eye on Hurricane Ian. When Brian Kelly met with reporters yesterday, he did. Can you play this from Muse? It's 10 from yesterday. Brian Kelly kind of just gave a thumbnail that they're monitoring the storm.
We've talked about a game plan in terms of what it might look like. Hopefully that's going to pass through. We're going to get probably some rain of some kind, and that'll be our first time in that kind of element. It's a grass situation. So, you put those plans together relative to what that would look like if, in fact, we did get hit with some severe rain.
Back in 2016, when Hurricane Matthew hit, Notre Dame was playing a game on the East Coast. I believe it was the Clemson. No, I'm sorry. It was NC State. Actually, I have it here. Notre Dame was playing NC State. They played it in Raleigh, and boy, it was just in the deluge. So this isn't anything that's completely new to Brian Kelly, preparing to play in what could be tropical conditions, even though he was at Notre Dame. And they've done this before, and obviously it's something that LSU is unfortunately all too familiar with, playing in these types of situations. But when you kind of look at the forecast, it's quite possible that by Saturday afternoon, certainly Saturday evening, when LSU is playing, that storm could have already passed, or maybe remnants of the southern part. But but LSU Auburn could actually dodge all of this by the time they tee it up and kick it off. The same isn't exactly true for much of the state of Florida, and obviously we're hoping for the best for everybody in Florida and everyone in the storm's path. I'm not sure if you saw this, but there have already been some schedule changes as a result of the storm. South Carolina's game against South Carolina State has been moved to Thursday. They're not going to play it on Saturday. They're going to move it up a couple days to Thursday. And Florida is going to play Eastern Washington on Sunday. They have made that announcement that the Florida Gators are moving their game to Sunday at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central on the SEC Network. Well, that's something, isn't it? Wait. Am I reading that right? Is Florida, am I reading this right? Florida? Sunday? They're moving the game? Huh. The same Florida that in 2016 wouldn't move the game with LSU to accommodate with Hurricane Matthew coming in? Oh, that's interesting. Sometimes it takes 6 years of waiting. But the University of Florida, namely former AD Jeremy Foley and everyone associated, deserves a gigantic middle finger right in the face today for what happened 6 years ago. Sometimes you got to wait to throw that and throw them double birds right in their face, but this is one of those days. I want to be very clear. Everyone who's in the path of the storm, hope everybody's safe. Get out of the way of the storm, first of all. But if you forgot what happened 6 years ago, LSU tried to bend over backwards to get that game played. Anywhere. Offered to fly in the day of the game, fly out the day of the game, played at a neutral site, played in Baton Rouge, played on Sunday. Tried everything. And Jeremy Foley's whole thing was, nope, if we're not playing it right at the time it's scheduled in Gainesville, we're not playing it. He wouldn't budge. And ultimately the game got canceled or postponed from that day. And from that point, LSU wouldn't budge. And because Joe Olivo was a PR nightmare, LSU was made to be the heavy in that whole situation. When in actuality, about a dozen games, actually I have the list right here. Georgia and South Carolina got moved. Old Dominion UMass got moved to Friday. FAU against Charlotte got postponed to Sunday. UCF Tulane got postponed as well. They played it in Orlando. It was originally scheduled for Friday, but they moved it to Saturday. Albany against Charleston Southern. Bethune-Cookman's at SC State. UNA against Florida Tech. All got altered as well as a result of Hurricane Matthew back in 2016. But Florida, the Gators, were complete a-holes and wouldn't play ball at all because they didn't want to give up their home game and disadvantage themselves in any way. Never mind the fact that that's what happens, unfortunately. 2005, LSU played a home game at Arizona State. They also played on a Monday night against Tennessee when Tennessee flew in the day of the game and flew out because of Hurricane Rita. 2008, LSU played at 10 a.m. against Appalachian State because Gustav was coming. In 2015, the McNeese State game got canceled. 2015, South Carolina had flooding in Columbia, played a home game in Baton Rouge as a result. This is what you do. It's unfortunate when it happens, but it's what you do. And this is a reminder that Florida were gigantic a-holes back in 2016. They wanted to play it their way or no way, and ultimately it created a very messy situation. And some of the things we learned from that situation then was Joe Olivo was a public relations nightmare, as he proved to be over and over again throughout his career. And Greg Sankey had just become the commissioner of the SEC. And he was a very weak commissioner at that point because Foley ran over him at that point. And thank God for Herb Vincent, because Herb Vincent's the one who stepped up and said, hey, if you don't play 8 conference games, you can't play in the SEC championship game. And that's why ultimately Florida decided to play ball and play that game in Baton Rouge that season. Just a reminder, 6 years later, of what we all knew then and was reinforced today by the same school that refused to budge then and is doing so now because their opponent is Eastern Washington. Because if it was anybody else, no doubt they wouldn't be willing to budge whatsoever. Or maybe that was just Jeremy Foley, who was a gigantic a-hole. But to the entire University of Florida community, double birds to you a-holes today, 6 years coming. It's after further review. We'll grab a quick break. Peter Burns of the SEC Network is next.
AFR.
Tuesday shows are brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. You know where to find them, 293-0450, 293-0450, or lainsurance.net. Better coverage for less money. They're there right now. Great time to give them a call. Call them right now, 293-0450. A lot of Louisiana residents, certainly over the past year, have seen their insurance companies leave the state. If that's you and you're searching for an insurance provider, let Insurance Network of Louisiana help. I love this testimonial. Came in, AFR listener named Joseph, had been with Allstate for 38 years, was drastically overpaying. They ultimately saved him $2,600 for the same annually for the same coverage that he was getting. Easy process. My friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. Stop overpaying to be underinsured. Call 293-0450. 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off MSRP on a new 2021 Ford F-150. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Welcome aboard, Peter Burns of the SEC Network. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, although I'm a huge miscalculation earlier today, Moscona. I decided to go to the gym to get my fat, you know what, dad bod into shape.
Yes.
And then they have this little thing where you can drop off your kids. So my daughter, Bo, wanted to go. So I was like, all right, you know what, let's go. We'll go early. So we show up, and we get here at 3 o'clock, and the little place doesn't open for the kids until 4.
Ooh.
So literally me and Bo, I've been trying to indoctrinate her. I've been showing her I got her an account of Tiger droppings. We've been looking at old school Dalton Hilliard and Tommy Hodson videos. So I'm trying to work her over and get the propaganda working here to bring her back from the dark side of being a Bama fan.
Yeah, man. So for those that don't know, Peter's wife is an Alabama fan, so they are very much a house divided. So constantly fighting over their kids' allegiance. What are you teaching Bo about playing 11 a.m. games against top 10 opponents in Baton Rouge?
Buddy, I was so despondent because my wife went to the UNM game and she was just because she graduated. She got her master's degree from New Mexico and she was like, all right, I got to go. So she went to the game and it crushed me because, I just miss it. Being in the studio, I don't get a chance to go to games. So she's like, all right, you're going. I don't care what you got to do. Take a weekend off. We're going to a game. And she's like, well, let's go to the Bama game. And I was like, I don't know how competitive that one might be this year. But I said, how about Tennessee or Ole Miss? And I was literally getting ready to tell Dario, he's working in the studio on Saturday. I was getting ready to buy the ticket. And then I saw the dreaded 11 a.m. kickoff. And I'm like, I was not a happy camper. We'll put it that way. The fact that CBS chose, for whatever reason, and I believe they went back-to-back on their picks where they have afternoon and night picks.
Yeah. For
them to pick Georgia-Auburn, which I don't see being within 30 points of that game, over LSU Tennessee is incredible, and Vol fans are pumped up about it. They're so excited that they don't have to face a loud crowd in Tiger Stadium.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what type of crowd does show up and show out. Last year's Florida game was 11 a.m. and it was a great atmosphere. But there's no doubt they had an opportunity to create a really cool Pete, you know this. It's just. In this day and age, 100,000 seat stadiums, the home viewing experience, what it is, traffic being so bad, people just don't come. You will get maybe 1 or 2 games a year that are full throat feel like Tiger Stadium. And that had a chance to be one of them. They ruined it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's the case, and that's one of the reasons why. I mean, I cannot wait until we expedite the situation to where all of those games are going to be under the ESPN umbrella. You know, I mean, think what you want, but I mean, there's a reality of whenever ESPN gets those games, we want to put them on in the afternoon or a night game as much as possible for LSU. So. Because it's different. It's a difference maker. And then the fact that opposing coaches look at this and say they just as soon rather play, Tennessee or they rather play LSU at noon. That's a game changer for them as well. But it's a fun as heck team to watch, man. I'll tell you what, like them getting over the Florida hump was monstrous for Josh Heupel and this crew.
You know, there's no question. I mean, you felt like if you couldn't get that one at home against Florida, like when are you ever going to be able to get one?
Right,
man.
Right.
Maybe like shoe on the other foot with Auburn. LSU go to Jordan-Hare this weekend. You got to read on that one, Pete. Like, I mean, I get Auburn's bad. I get it, but I mean, there's been one time in my lifetime where LSU went to Jordan-Hare and won by double figures. That was 1998 with an outgoing Terry Bowden. I mean, bro, it's a hard place to play, man.
It's crazy because it's when you try to take you can tell, Matt, you've been around it enough. You can tell when teams quit versus they're not very good. And I didn't get a sense that there was a quit in Auburn against Missouri. I just felt like they weren't very good. In fact, I almost, in a weird way, Brian Harsin kind of is like living this YOLO life where it's like, hey man, I don't think I'm going to be here next year. Like, let's just go ball out. Let's go have some fun. And the problem is they just don't have the playmakers that they traditionally do. I mean, like, who scares you on this roster outside of Tank Bigsby? Who on that roster is like, man, we got to make sure this guy is in check. I maybe Jarquez Hunter, but even him, because the offensive line is putrid. There's nothing that scares me about this Auburn team other than the fact that they don't really care right now because I think they're all kind of fitting for themselves.
Do you think that that's competitive Saturday at Jordan-Hare?
I'm trying to take the homer out of me, right? The kid born and raised in Port Allen, Louisiana, thinks about it going, this is going to be the second time Moscona sees a double-digit victory down in the Plains. But the issue that I have is that, again, I don't see the quit in this Brian Harsin team. And I think that when you have a team that has necessarily nothing to lose, then I got to figure out, are we going to see Jaden Daniels, the guy that we normally see kind of progress in the third and fourth quarter? Are we going to see him right off the bat? And I think that's the one thing I've missed against a good quality opponent that I haven't seen is how do you show up from opening kickoff ready to kick somebody's you-know-what? It's one thing to do it against Southern. It's one thing to do it against New Mexico. But, I mean, this is another SEC opponent. Like, I want to see if Daniels can feel comfortable in the mix of the game from the first 6 minutes of the game as opposed to after halftime when everything, the adrenaline, the flow is going to slow down.
What outside of LSU Auburn, what are you looking forward to this weekend?
I'm trying to figure out what the hell happens between Kentucky and Ole Miss. I mean,
yeah.
I look at both of these teams and I'm like, 7th ranked Kentucky. Like, I like Kentucky. I've been on the bandwagon for Stoops for a while now, but I'm like, I don't think this is one of the best Kentucky teams that they've had. Now, I will say this: they have arguably one of the best wide receiver core. I think Kentucky football has a better wide receiver room right now than Alabama football does. I'm being dead serious. The Berrien Brown is that good. Dane Key is awesome. You look at Tavion Robinson; they're fantastic. But their offensive line is not very good, and I haven't seen enough out of Ole Miss. I mean, Matt, are you buying Ole Miss right now? I don't. I know they're running the ball well, but they haven't played anybody with a heartbeat, really.
Not yet, but dude, we talked about it. Like they could, if they get past Kentucky, they should be 7-0 going to Baton Rouge.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that is a situation where I think Ole Miss this year only gets better as time goes on. Because, I mean, listen, they got like 142 different transfers that they're still trying to figure out. I don't even know if they know each other's names.
Right.
I think they just go by numbers right there in Oxford right now. And yet it works. And it's so weird, too, the state of Mississippi. You got State that throws the ball 85% of the time, and you've got the school up north in Oxford that runs the ball 85% of the time.
Look at you with the school up north.
Yeah, T-Sun. I learned that from Dan Mullen back before he decided to go over to the bigger britches over in Gainesville.
How did that work?
Hey, he's with us now. He's doing a great job.
Doing a good job. Yeah, doing a good job. Get that little TV gig.
It's always hard the first year, these guys, because, like, this happened with Chiswick with us. Like, with Dan, Dan's really good. He gives us some insight, but he's not really telling us, like, he's not, like, cutting through yet.
Yeah.
Because, you know that he probably is going to get back into coaching. Like, I remember when Chiz thought he was out of coaching, like, he would just be like, all right, boys, let me tell you what I really think. And, I mean, that's what's great is when you're not trying to protect the next paycheck. And, Dan's still got a couple more years. I'm curious if Georgia Tech would go look at Dan a little bit. I'm kind of curious to see what Georgia Tech does now with Collins out.
Which of the – Peter Burns is with us, by the way, on behalf of Blue Delta Jeans, on Twitter at Peter Burns ESPN. Of the 3 Power 5 jobs open right now, Nebraska, Georgia Tech, Arizona State, which is the most appealing to you?
Arizona State.
Why?
I think just in the fact of it being in the Pac-12, outside of USC, I don't see anybody else building kind of something that resembles like a juggernaut. I mean, if you do it in Nebraska, it's just I don't know if the name, image, and likeness. I don't know if the recruiting wise. I don't think you can make that team great again. For Arizona State, I think you can make it quirky. You can have a boatload of fun. And I think you've got a path through the 12-team playoff in a couple of years where you could easily get to the second best team. And for Atlanta, I just think that as long as Kirby and as long as SEC coaches are in that area code, you ain't got a chance. I mean, they might as well go back to running the triple option right now. And people are saying, oh, Deion will work there. I'm like, there's no way. Like, Deion's going to go to a place where they're like, Deion, whatever you want, you get. Like basically what they did in Athens to Kirby, like, carte blanche. Here's the credit card, go do it. Georgia Tech's not going to do that with Deion, and I'm fascinated to see where he rolls to next.
Are you not? So I talked about this yesterday. Georgia Tech is at least appealing, Pete, because you can recruit just the state of Georgia, even if you're not getting the best players that Georgia's getting. You can you can just recruit Atlanta. But it's incredible that they don't do it. Like, they haven't been. I mean, this team has won a national championship more recently than Notre Dame has. Like, and they have they have a great recruiting base. Like, just recruit Georgia. It's stunning to me how bad Georgia Tech is. That's the one I can't figure out why they can't turn it around.
And here's the thing. With Georgia kind of taking that next level step, Georgia's doing what Clemson. Clemson did a great job by killing all the recruiting and crushing it when they were on the up and up, like whenever they were rising, because they owned that South Carolina, kind of Georgia area. They were getting these regional kids. But then now they became a national brand. With Georgia becoming a national brand, Georgia's looking for the best linebacker out of New Jersey, a quarterback out of California, the kid out of Florida. Like, they can almost overlook a bunch of 3- and 4-star talent that Georgia Tech can get. The problem is I don't know if the administration there is willing to buy in. Like you have to be like there's programs that are buying in, right? A&M buys in, and yet coaching staff, I don't know if Jimbo has truly adapted enough. So there's one thing to have the school buy in. It's another thing to go all in and have success, and I don't think you'll be able to get that at Georgia Tech.
Is A&M on upset alert this weekend in Starkville?
I mean, is it an upset in a weird way? Like, when I look at kind of where the numbers lie, I think people like Mississippi State, which, again, I got to go hang out with your guys over at the sports book and figure out. I just want to sit behind the scenes of these odds makers and just be like, tell me what you see here. Mm-hmm. Like, I know the Anaya Smith injury is bad and it changes their offense, but why would you put State favored other than the fact that they're at home against Texas A&M? I can't get it.
A&M can't score?
I honestly, I mean, that's what it is. It's truly amazing. It reminds me of shades of LSU when we have all these great athletes, yet you did not have a dynamic offense. And each and every week you're like, are we really going to win another game 17-14?
Yep.
I mean, you're winning games, but I'm like, I mean, when Nick Saban said I need Lane Kiffin, despite probably hating his guts, because I got to move into a fast-paced offense that's electric, you know, if he's making that switch, it's time for Jimbo to give away the reins of play calling and give it to somebody who can play call in 2022. And as an LSU fan, I got to be honest with you, I'm glad he's stubborn and won't give up the play calling duties, because that's puts a governor switch on that team.
That's a great point. Peter Burns with us on behalf of Blue Delta Jeans. You're going to be in studio this weekend, yeah?
I'm going to be in studio, and looking forward to that. And then what's the other? There was one other big game. What am I missing here?
Bama, Arkansas.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was wondering if game day would have been there, and it could have been 2 weeks that the SEC team got hosed on game day, because remember they were going to go to A&M game.
Yeah.
And then they didn't because they lost to App State. And then I think they were going to go to Fayetteville. And then all of a sudden, they end up losing that game because of the upright being the long.
Hey,
man. If you saw that was, I've never seen anything like that. It's crazy.
Doinking one off the top of the upright is a first, but at the same time, look, I've affectionately called them the Arkan frauds for 2 years now. They're not ready to take a step and be an elite program. It shouldn't have even come down to that in that ball game.
Yeah, I mean, again, they remind me a little bit of Kentucky this year, and but the problem is, Matt. I mean, you go back and look at college football. Like, who else? I mean, you got maybe 5 or 6 teams, and everything else from 6 to 25. I could throw in the mix, and it's just like this, jambalaya of pretty good team. Pick whatever you want. I can't figure it out.
I get it, dude. Like, you win games, you're going to be ranked high. But to your point about A&M and Mississippi State, I mean, A&M's ranked, but Mississippi State's the favorite going into this game. That is why, my friend, as they say, they play the games. He's Peter Burns on Twitter at Peter Burns ESPN. Are you going to come in, or are you not coming in for Tennessee?
I'm not coming into Tennessee. I can't if I'm going to use the get out of jail free card for the SEC network, I feel like I got to do it at least 3:30. Again, I would like to do it. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I'm hoping the Ole Miss game will be that one.
Look at the schedule that week, Pete. Ole Miss is going to be the 2:30 Central game. I mean,
it has to be.
There's nothing else.
But never underestimate television executives trying to do something stupid, and occasionally they do that over there. So.
Says a man who works for a television network.
Yeah, but we're the good one. We're the right one.
He is Peter Burns on Twitter at Peter Burns ESPN with us every Tuesday. Thanks, dude.
See you, buddy.
All right, man. We'll see you. We're brought to you by DraftKings. By the way, if you do want to bet on the LSU, Auburn, or the Mississippi State, Texas A&M game, you can do it at DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Remember, use the promo code Baton Rouge if you're a new customer. Bet just $5 on any football game. Let me say this again slowly. New customer, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Bet just $5 on any football game. If the team you pick wins, they'll give you $200 in free bets. I mean, pick Bama to beat Arkansas. They do. Just bet just $5 and give you $200 in free bets. Doesn't matter. Moneyline play on any game. Doesn't matter. It's at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and be sure to use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus issued as free bets. 1 boost per eligible game. Opt-in required. Parlay and wagering restrictions apply. Eligibility and terms at DraftKings.com/football terms. Licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem. Call 1-877-7-0-STOP. All right, 27 minutes. We'll check in with Maddy Hudak. Talk some Saints. Maddy was good enough to join us all through our training camp. Give us our camp reports. Doing a lot of film study. Want to talk to Maddy about, I really want to talk about Jameis. Like, is it accuracy? Is he not setting protections? Is he not making the right reads? Like, what is film study showing? We'll get into that with Maddy in about a little less than 30 minutes from right now. Sean Salisbury with us in Hour 3. Ton to do, and glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org. That's brgeneral.org. I mean, Lord knows, hope you never need emergency care, but if you do, of course, you can pick where an ambulance takes you for emergency care. You can choose where you go. Choose the Baton Rouge General. The Mid-City location, which opened their ER mid-COVID. The Bluebonnet campus right there near I-10. Of course, the Ascension Neighborhood Hospital. That means if you're in Ascension Parish, you now have emergency care in Ascension Parish, which has never happened before until they opened up the Ascension Neighborhood Hospital. You can see the back of it facing I-10. It's the Baton Rouge General Hospital. Express care locations as well. That's walk-in urgent care 7 days a week. So if you want to bypass the ER, if you don't need emergency care, but you need urgent care, go to the Baton Rouge General Hospital Express care locations. Learn more online. See wait times online at brgeneral.org. That's brgeneral.org for the Baton Rouge General Hospital, part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you. Crime has serious consequences, but but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I would go around the SEC here in just a quick second. In about 30 minutes, Auburn announced, and you're going to hear this in around the SEC, their starting center is out 6 to 8 weeks. That bodes very well for LSU in this week. So I want to go into that matchup, the Auburn offensive line against the LSU defensive front. We're going to get to that in about 30 minutes from right now. Brian Harsin, though, met with the media on Monday. And listen, I mean, Auburn in some respects had no business winning that game. If Missouri's kicker makes what amounts to a PAT, Missouri wins that game. And Harsin's probably not the coach anymore. If the Missouri running back doesn't stretch the ball out at the goal line, Missouri likely wins in overtime. So that's the reality of what's facing Auburn right now. The coexisting reality also is that, like, it's clear Auburn is playing hard, and if you look at the post-game locker room celebration, they were fired up to win that game no matter how it went down. Here's what Brian Harsin said about his team's mentality right now.
I think the guys are in a good place right now as far as where we need to be going into this week and playing another SEC opponent, and we're looking forward to getting these guys back on Tuesday and ready to practice.
I mean, you look at the locker room video, if you're watching, we're showing right there, it's on the Auburn Twitter. The dudes are like spraying water bottles all over the locker room. Brian Harsin's jumping into his players' arms. I mean, this was a win over Missouri. This was a nail-biter overtime win over a bad Missouri team, and they're celebrating like they just upset the number one team in the country. Like, in some respects,
this shows that that team has a lot of give a damn. It's one thing, I think Peter said this is right. It's one thing if you're bad. It's another when you've quit. Like LSU a year ago, the football team quit a year ago. Like LSU had 10 players drafted off that team a year ago. 10 that went 6-6. They quit on their coach. They quit against Ole Miss, except for maybe Damone Clark. They quit against Kentucky. They quit. They quit on their coach. It was over. I don't think Auburn's quit. I just think they're not very good. Which makes for an uncomfortable road game for LSU head to Jordan Hare on Saturday. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com. That's mold-0usa.com. Check them out online. They service the entire greater New Orleans and greater Baton Rouge areas, including the North Shore. So you go to the website, you'll see at the top of the website the Baton Rouge number and the New Orleans number. So no matter where you are, you'll call the office near you. Mold-0usa.com. If you have mold, odors, other pathogens, Mold Zero is a patented, non-toxic, dry fog treatment process. So you're only inconvenienced to be out of your home for as long as it takes to dry. Again, it's non-toxic. So this is perfectly safe for you, for your family, for your pets, and it works. It's incredibly effective. And we're talking about little to no demolition. You're not cutting sheetrock. It's going to get in there and it's going to kill the mold. Mold-0usa.com. Again, mold-0usa.com for Mold Zero USA. All right, it's After Further Review. Do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Florida Gators.
If you missed it earlier, Florida has moved its game with Eastern Washington from Saturday to Sunday in Gainesville with the threat of Hurricane Ian at Florida's coast. The change was announced earlier Tuesday. So they'll still play at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, noon Eastern on ESPN Plus, SEC Network Plus. Florida's canceled classes, the university has from Wednesday through Friday. That's one of a handful of games already impacted by the storm.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Another game impacted, of course, is South Carolina. They've announced they are moving their game against South Carolina State up to Thursday night at Williams-Brice Stadium. It'll kick off at 7 Eastern. It was scheduled to be a Saturday at noon at Williams-Brice. South Carolina beat Charlotte last week to improve to 2-2. They were planning a reunion of Steve Spurrier's 2010 to 2013 teams. That has been postponed.
The Auburn Tigers.
As we mentioned, Auburn has lost now its second center, Tate Johnson. Surgery on his left elbow. He'll be out 6 to 8 weeks minimum. Could be done for the year. Jaleel Irvin will replace Johnson, who went down against Missouri. Avery Jernigan is also getting work at center. Johnson had taken over for sixth-year center Nick Brahms, who retired from football just before the season opener. By the way, T.J. Finley is also scheduled to practice this week for Auburn.
The Texas A&M Aggies.
A&M's down its top receiver. Anais Smith is going to miss the rest of the season with a leg injury. The senior sustained the injury while blocking during the third quarter of Saturday's win against Arkansas. Smith's father said he has a fracture in his leg. Anais Smith served as a captain in 2021. He started each of the past 4 seasons for Texas A&M, and he's rated as the number 114 overall prospect for this spring's NFL draft.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
And Georgia's getting some good news on the injury front in advance of their game Saturday against Missouri. Kirby Smart said he's hopeful that receivers A.D. Mitchell and Arian Smith will be available after missing last week's game against Kent State. Also, it's possible that defensive lineman Jalen Carter could play against Missouri. Carter's had a nagging ankle injury. He is a possible top overall pick for next year's draft. Smart wouldn't say, though, if defensive back Javon Bullard would miss time. Remember, he was arrested over the weekend and charged with DUI. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. Online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale, the official office equipment provider of LSU Athletics, and they have held that distinction now for 20 years. That's right, Gulf Coast Office Products celebrating 20 years as a partner of LSU Athletics. Also, official office equipment provider of the Saints, the Pelicans, and the ULL Raging Cajuns. It's Gulf Coast Office Products. GCOPnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. All right, it's after further review. Remember, you can always email us. You can tweet us at Matt Moscona. You can jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat. You can text us in the 225 at 396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways that you can get involved in the show, so feel free to do it. When we come back, I mentioned Hurricane Ian threatening and already impacting a lot of college games. Saints may be about to catch another break there with Tampa being impacted by Hurricane Ian. We'll delve into some of those particulars when we come back to wrap up hour number one. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
If you've listed your home for sale by owner because you don't want to pay a commission, you need to call Darren James, because Darren James has a marketing plan that allows you to hire him to sell your home for free. It's the buy one, list one free program through Darren James and Associates, powered by eXp Realty. It's exactly as it sounds. If you hire Darren to represent you on the purchase of your new home, he will list your home for free, no commission. So right now, if you're one of the hundreds of people on FSBOBR right now with your home listed for sale by owner because you don't want to pay a commission, here's your opportunity to hire the realtor that sells more real estate than anyone in our market and not pay him a commission. It's Darren James. 335-7666. Call him now. That's his cell. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating health.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Man, the Saints may be about to catch another break. I know it doesn't feel like this team has been super fortunate early in the season so far with some of the injuries. Obviously, the injury to Jameis. Kamara's missed a game. Taysom Hill missed this most recent game. And when you look at the schedule now at 1-2, having to go across the pond to take on Minnesota, and then you don't get the bye after that game. There's a lot of things I understand where you say lucky. I mean, they've been lucky at all. Well, the Mike Evans fight certainly was the turning point in the game against Tampa. I'm not saying that's why the Saints lost. We've been over this. But that was a turning point in the game. But it also cost Mike Evans the game against Green Bay. And without Mike Evans, the Tampa offense continued to struggle. And they lost to Green Bay at home just 14-12. They put up 12 points. So far on the season, Tampa scored 19 against Dallas, 20 against the Saints, and 12 at home against the Packers. They are just not a good offense. And now this week comes, and they're facing even more adversity. Tampa is. With Hurricane Ian moving over Florida's West Coast Wednesday and then into Thursday, the Buccaneers are relocating to Miami. So Miami's playing a road game on Thursday night. So Tampa is going to go to Miami and prepare at their facility. And then they're going to wait and see what happens with this storm. It is possible, depending on what happens with Hurricane Ian in the Tampa area, that the game on Sunday could be relocated to a neutral site. And they're playing Kansas City. The Bucs are playing the Chiefs this weekend. It's scheduled for Sunday night football in Tampa. But what's being said is they will not play it in Miami, even though the Dolphins, who play on Thursday against Cincinnati, won't be there. What they're saying is a possibility is that it could be moved somewhere in the Midwest, for example, Minneapolis. Of course, the Vikings are in London to take on the Saints, so the Vikings stadium would be open, similar to a year ago when the Saints opened up against Green Bay and had to move their game out of New Orleans. They played in Jacksonville in the opener. You find a neutral site. So it may be to where Tampa plays a, air quotes, home game in Minnesota this week against Kansas City. So I get it. The Saints haven't had a lot go right for them, but Tampa playing Green Bay without Mike Evans, and now the storm, which obviously you hope just there's no loss of life or property, but Lord knows the Saints and everybody around here has had to deal with plenty of this, and it's kind of impacting Tampa at a time where they're struggling as it is. By the way, Tom Brady on his podcast, his Let's Go podcast, talked about the storm. And look, I mean, for a guy who's spent really all of his career up in New England, the hurricanes are new to him. Here's what he said.
I don't think I don't think any place is very well suited for a hurricane to hit. But everyone in this area will be in our thoughts and prayers as we go through it. I know our team is going to have to adjust, go to Miami and practice there for the week. And then hopefully we can come back later in the week and play against the Chiefs Sunday night. So a lot of things can happen in a short period of time. And I think it's suited for all of us to stay adaptable to the situation. I don't think that anyone's really prepared for this. I know I've been preparing all morning. I get all my stuff outside, try to put it inside, try to get all the stuff on the ground level up a little bit higher. I'm right here on the bay. So they're talking about pretty high storm surges, and it's a scary thing. I will say that. It's a scary thing when it really hits your doorstep.
Do we really think Tom Brady's the one getting all of his stuff outside, inside? I mean, he's got a massive house, too.
Absolutely not.
I mean,
No.
He's like...
That man just lied.
Getting all the staff to come move all this stuff. Have you seen Tom Brady's house on the bay? I need to pull up.
Huge.
I need to pull up a picture of this. The Tom Brady's house in Tampa that he's renting is because wasn't it Jeter's house? Wasn't that
it
the
was?
thing?
Yeah. It was
I mean,
Jeter's
it's just a massive estate right there on the water. I'm trying to find a picture of it, but it doesn't matter. One more though from Tom Brady. This was him talking about the offensive struggles that Tampa has had so far.
There's a lot of things that we're just not doing well, consistently well. We're not making enough yards in the run game. We're not converting on third down. We're not scoring in the red area. I mean, all of it comes down to scoring points. The one thing you know about football is every sport, in the end of the day, you're trying to score more points than the other team. And you can only do that by getting the ball in the end zone. You can only do that by marching the ball down the field unless you get a big play. If you march the ball down the field, you really can't have a lot of negative plays that impact you. And I think between our penalties and our turnovers, we've done our offense a disservice because we're just not able to consistently do the right thing in order to score points.
22nd in passing offense, 25th in rushing offense, 22nd in scoring offense. They're just not good. But they're first in the NFL in scoring defense at just 9 points a game. By the way, here's Tom Brady's house. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see these pictures. But if not, you can just go Google them. Like this is the compound, Derek Jeter's compound that Tom Brady bought for like $22 million. Do you think Tom Brady is getting all of this stuff outside off of this compound up off the bay and in the I doubt very seriously. A beautiful home though. All right, Maddy Hudak joins us next. We'll talk some Saints. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. 288-8138, 288-8138, or ReliefWindows.com. Sheesh. How much, maybe you should ask Brandon Holly. Pull this picture up, Brian. Paulie, how much it would cost for Tom Brady to replace all of the windows in this comp. That is an annual, budget maker. It's incredible, that compound. Anyway, Relief Windows, 288-8138, 288-8138, or ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. That's energy-efficient replacement windows. No matter what time of year it is, if it's hot or cold outside, you want to prevent those costly air leaks. Get these perfectly framed windows for your home that are energy-efficient, that are going to reduce those costly air leaks. So beautiful entry doors. We always tell you about Hardy plank and vinyl siding. Change the exterior look of your home in less than 14 days from the time you call. It's Relief Windows, 288-8138, or online at reliefwindows.com.
I am Juliette, daughter of Marguerite, granddaughter of Gabriel Piera. I come from a line of strong women who knew struggle and success too. Still, I was scared by my breast cancer diagnosis. But I had Blue Cross coverage, which meant I got care from top doctors. I'm strong like my mother, and her mother before her. The right card, the right care.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off MSRP on a new 2021 Ford F-150. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime. This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Giants leading receiver Sterling Shepard will miss the rest of the season with a torn ACL suffered last night. His absence a big hit for New York's receiving group, which hasn't had a great start to the season anyways, believes former Giants running back Brandon Jacobs.
I wish we had more wide receiver play, take some pressure off of Saquon and make Daniel Jones' job a little easier. I mean, the guys he's throwing to, man, not too many people has ever heard of him. But at the end of the day, man, you need a core at the wide receiver group, and you need that one bell cow. We don't have that.
Brandon Jacobs on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. With the threat of Hurricane Ian, the Buccaneers are temporarily relocating to South Florida. The South Carolina State football game moved from Saturday to Thursday at 7 Eastern. The Florida Eastern Washington game pushed back to Sunday at noon Eastern. USF East Carolina will instead play in Boca on Saturday night. The Tampa Bay Lightning has postponed preseason home games for tomorrow and Thursday. NBA Bulls guard Lonzo Ball telling reporters he still can't run or jump without feeling pain in his left knee, and that's why he's having another arthroscopic knee surgery tomorrow.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
The bottom line is he was a 6th overall pick in the draft. He's not the future. The Giants are going to move on from him this year. He's a very, very good backup in the league, it looks like to me.
This and more, Wednesday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
I am sweating.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musu. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Has anyone ever thought that Bill Plaschke looks a lot like Dave Ramsey? You ever thought of that? No, look at Plaschke. We got what show is that? That's Around the Horn.
Yeah, Around the Horn.
So they got Around the Horn on, and Bill Plaschke's on there, and he's wearing these really thick black rimmed glasses, and he's got a goatee now on the bald. He looks a lot like Dave Ramsey now. Maybe I only know that because Dave's on Talk 107.3, which is our sister station. And so he pops up there all
the time. Does Plaschke looks like Ramsey, or does Ramsey look like Plaschke?
Look. Tell me it doesn't look like
yeah,
Dave
Ramsey. He does.
Come on. He's a dead ringer.
Doppelganger.
Dead ringer. Ramsey's got more money. No debt, all that stuff. Brilliant guy. He's made tons of money basically saying, buy less, save more.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That's basically it. That's his whole thesis. Everybody. All right, it's after further review. Auburn has lost its starting center, possibly for the season. I want to talk about the LSU defensive line against the Auburn front. We'll get to that in about 15 minutes. Maddy Hudak's good enough to join us. She was with us all throughout Saints camp. Did a great job giving us our Saints camp reports. And it was a good time to dial her back up, considering all the questions going on right now with Jameis at quarterback and some of the personnel issues here through 3 games as the Saints are just 1-2. Maddy, we appreciate you. How are you?
I'm good, though I got to say I think I enjoyed rewatching the preseason tape a little more than that, not film watch.
How many times did you go back and watch the Minnesota game, or the Carolina game?
I watched it twice, and then I watched the defense again just because the personnel they were using was just a little interesting to me. But I don't really think the tape, unfortunately, illuminated anything of value on offense other than just kind of confirming what it looked like on the first eye check, really.
Yeah. All right, so let's just start with Jameis. I mean, that's the most obvious, and I think that's what everyone's wanting to talk about. So I'm curious, when you go back and you do your scouting and your film eval, the question has kind of been, all right, well, what is the issue? Is he not making reads? Is he just inaccurate throwing the football? Is it clear that his back injury is affecting him? What do you see?
I think the answer is somewhere in the middle of all of those things being factors at this point. What kind of just sticks out, it just feels like there is no leadership on offense right now. I think that it's kind of impossible to ignore the limitations of 2 injuries now. We haven't really gotten much insight on what the ankle injury was, but when you have, fractured vertebrae in your back and you then have an ankle injury and that back injury likely affects your lower body, then I just feel like everything breaks down. And my issue has kind of been that it doesn't seem like Winston really recognizes that he perhaps has these limitations and is kind of just trying to do what he usually does while he's healthy. He's now thrown 5 turnovers in 2 games, and that's kind of hard to ignore given that, I think 7 or 8 games with 3 interceptions last year. He hasn't been fumbling like the other players have, and there's a lot of self-inflicted things like penalties, but he's certainly not the reason that they're going to win games at this point. And the play calling just seems a little off, and everything just seems disjointed and a little nonsensical with pressure in their face.
I'm glad you brought up pressure in your face because that's clearly been another issue is the number of sacks. And this is sort of another sort of point of contention. Is it that the offensive line isn't blocking well, or is it Jameis not recognizing or calling out protections?
Again, I think the answer is kind of both. You can see the run blocking really kind of show that the offensive line just isn't kind of up to its typical standard. I was kind of going back and looking at a few plays by Breeze because it's kind of my point in this one where, not only did he set protection calls, but he'd make checks, read the defense, and alter receiver routes based on what he was reading out there. But he also had a really long time in the pocket. And I think what we're seeing here is, yes, Eric McCoy is responsible for setting those initial protections, but then it's kind of on the quarterback to see things like the nickel blisters. And not just that, but again, it kind of exploits the weaknesses of the defense. And it doesn't even feel like he's really reading it that much at all. But I would be remiss not to mention that things have gone under the radar. This is only Winston and McCoy's 4th full game together because McCoy went down after 5 snaps in week 1 of last year, and his first game back was the Seattle game. And then the game following that, Winston went down for the season. So, my problem then, I guess, is why hasn't that been more of a point of emphasis this offseason? Because any way you look at it, kind of seems like all hands in the pot are kind of involved, and it's just a level of sloppiness that I don't think, arguments about playing in one preseason series would really solve at this point.
No, that's a good point. She's on Twitter at Maddy Hudak _94. Make sure you give her a follow. When you look at the offensive line then as sort of a continuation there, who is playing well and who isn't right now?
I think James Hurst has really held up well considering, the role he had to fill in the shoes of Terron Armstead. Andres Pete had a bad game in the run game, and he typically tends to be better as a run blocker, but his replacement in Calvin Throckmorton was even worse. Cesar Ruiz has his moments, but there's others where he just continues to look, entirely lost about what's going on. And for that reason, it's hard for me to kind of evaluate Ryan Branchick on his face because the idea of being continuously worried about the guard next to you and then, again, having those things like Winston not calling out, there's a blitz coming from this side or perhaps, moving with the flow of pass rush and stepping, up through the top pocket or navigating out of it. And that's where, again, I feel like you have to go back to his injury there, but it just seems like everything's kind of breaking down in a way that's surprising at this point because on its face, that's the same offensive unit for the last several seasons now, and they just don't seem like they've been jointed.
You also mentioned play calling, and that's been another thing that people have talked about. Is there a notable difference between Pete Carmichael and Sean Payton? And look, Maddy, I was one of those who was like, look, we saw Pete Carmichael as the primary play caller 3 times before, and all 3 times Saints finished top 6 in the NFL in offense. So I didn't really anticipate a giant drop-off there. Are you noticing differences in the play calling, either sequence structure, how they did it compared to how Pete Carmichael is doing it now?
Well, I think everyone kind of keeps pointing out the lack of Alvin Kamara in the passing game. And yes, he's open on some plays, and I think there's a larger discussion to be had about, understanding kind of what a play design looks like, because just because a guy looks open doesn't mean that he's the primary read there. And a lot of these plays they're set up, I think, more for the amount of receivers they now have rather than kind of the change at quarterback. And I think that's almost kind of where it's going wrong. I don't really know, I'm not an offensive minded person as much as the defense, but they've gotten so many great wide receivers, and yet it just seems like the wrong play call kind of every single time. I think a lot of those throws a healthy Winston makes, and then I think we're having somewhat of a different conversation here. I also feel like just Drew Brees' ability to improvise really came out a lot of time, but not having Alvin Kamara be kind of that threat in the passing game as much, I think Sean Payton really designed plays to get Alvin Kamara involved and have him be a passing threat because, quite frankly, they don't have much of a run game threat right now at this point either. And so that makes the offense be a little one-dimensional. And when you're constantly playing from behind, I think I saw something where they scored 10 total points in the first half of every single game through 3 weeks now. So if you're always playing from behind, then it's hard also to evaluate, are these play calls something that we would otherwise see if they weren't constantly playing catch-up?
Maddy, in a couple more minutes with Maddy Hudak, are there ways where if we just sort of agree that the offense generally is broken right now, which, I mean, it's hard not, to your point, they've scored 51 points total this season. 38 have come in the fourth quarter. I mean, it's just they aren't scoring. It's very obvious, like what's happening here. So what is something that's fixable that you could say, okay, even if Jameis Winston's back is not healthy, this week against Minnesota, they could do this?
Be more aware of the fact that teams at this point kind of can see that they're not picking up blitzes, and I think you're going to see a lot of zero blitz plays moving forward. Minnesota hasn't had the production from their pass rush unit, I think, as much as they like to with the caliber of guys there, but going forward, you'd kind of like to see a little less of those deep shots, and it just doesn't seem like he has the ability to put touch on. They're so far off at this point. It just looks so weird, especially, again, with them not really, and I understand why, but not really elaborating on how much he's limited by injury. Kind of throws so far behind Jarvis Landry that he ends up getting hurt. I think the quick fix, again, is get more, feed the ball more to Alvin Kamara out in the flat and have extra tight ends in there blocking. At the same time, those tight ends have been in there and have kind of missed their assignments. I think discipline play will also make a big difference. They have gotten so many self-inflicted penalties at this point that have killed drives, and then you add in the turnover factor. I think if you played cleaner football in general across every almost unit on offense, then I think you can kind of shoulder this load and figure out what is the best plan moving forward.
Maddy, I also wanted to ask about Tyrann Mathieu because I've gotten this question often, so I'm curious what your film study has shown. The stats obviously aren't there. The impact hasn't really been there like many had thought. But sometimes you can still be impacting the game, although it doesn't show up in the stat sheet. What are you seeing from Tyrann so far?
Yeah, that's a good point, too. Safety is one of the worst positions on the broadcast. You almost never see them unless they're involved in the play, and it's usually because the catch is either made or not made deep down the field. But what stuck out to me, I don't think, Mathieu has necessarily not had an impact so far in the first couple games. I just think there's been so many kind of playmakers back there. Like Pete Werner is deservedly garnering a lot of attention for what he's been doing. And, there's been really good run stops by Justin Evans. So I just think they've kind of needed less of that work from Mathieu. What stuck out to me in this game, and I pulled up the coverage report too, they lost Marcus May that week with some type of injury. And, they ran middle of the field close coverage 77% of the time. And that has been an average about 40 to 50 the first 3 weeks. We've been seeing them run so much more cover 2, cover 4 even, and really taking advantage of the versatility of May and Mathieu. And so a lot of the time he was in single high coverage at safety, and Mathieu at free safety to me isn't really getting the best production out of what his traits offer. And to that same note, I don't think TJ Williams back there in single high is really the best use of him either, but they don't seem to have kind of that chemistry to play a 2-back set like we saw with May and Mathieu. So I think, honestly, that May's absence really just shows in the employment of coverage.
It's great stuff. She's on Twitter at Maddy Hudak _94. Good enough to be a contributor to us here. Of course, Saints Wire as well. You can go check that out. Maddy, we always appreciate it. We'll be in touch, and here's hoping the next time we talk, we're talking about some more optimistic things regarding this team, because so far through 3 games, it's been a rough watch, no doubt. We appreciate it, Maddy. Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, be well. It's After Further Review. Tuesday show is brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. It's a good point, and I didn't even notice, but think about but that is true. It's one of those things that you can see on film today. Maybe you don't real time when Marcus May goes out. Tyron moved positions, essentially. So, I mean, you just weren't even seeing him do the things that he does exceptionally well. But throwing the ball to Alvin Kamara is a great point. I mean, I know we've talked about it a bunch, but each of his first 3 seasons in the NFL, Kamara had 81 receptions each of his first 3 seasons in the NFL. It was such a notable point of emphasis of the offense to push the ball to Kamara in the passing game. We know Sean Payton was just so big on the screen game. And look, I mean, in some respects, you got to be honest here with that. I mean, Kamara missing the second game and then playing, I guess, a little injured here, but with the rib injuries, he was limited throughout the week. But in 2 games, I mean, he had 2 receptions for 7 yards against Carolina, and in the opener against Atlanta, he had 2 receptions for 12 yards and then 3 receptions for 7 yards against Atlanta. So for the season, Kamara's been targeted 11 times. He's got 5 catches for 19 yards. I mean, that's not what we've become accustomed to seeing with Alvin Kamara in the pitch and catch game. I would certainly love to see him get more involved in that respect. All right, it is After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll switch gears from Saints to LSU when we come back. Auburn, their starting center is out, possibly for the season. We'll look at that matchup on the interior when we come back. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, this morning I was driving down I-10, and right on the left side of me came a big yellow van. River City's 1 Hour Air. The big yellow van with the giant clock on the side that'll tell you, keep an eye out for them. You'll see them all over town, and I did this morning. And you know what? Maybe you'll see it in your neighbor's house. Look, Kathy Williams left a 5-star Google review. Said, Leslie was very polite, explained suggested repairs as a result of my routine maintenance. He took the time to explain in detail what was needed and made sure I understood. I will request him for my next 6-month checkup. Mention all the time that you should get your seasonal maintenance done. You should always get that seasonal maintenance done to make sure that your AC and your heater are staying in tip-top shape, running efficiently, but also it's how you prevent little issues from becoming very big, very costly issues. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, and every time one of their trained technicians comes to your house, you get a text, an email, and a call alerting you that they're on their way. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments.
As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, Sean Salisbury next hour. Glad to have you aboard with us here. On Monday, both Brian Kelly and Brian Harsin met with the media to preview the LSU-Auburn game Saturday at Jordan-Hare Stadium. My feeling on this game, and as we get closer to the weekend, of course, I'll give you a pick. But I love the LSU-Auburn game. I've talked about it before over the years. If you've been following the show for a lot of years, for me, this is my favorite LSU series, rivalry, whatever you want to call it. I think a lot of that is just generational. My grandfather would say Ole Miss. My dad would probably say Alabama from the 70s against the Bear. For me, watching LSU in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, this Auburn series just always delivered. And the games, the earthquake game, the interception game, the bring back the magic game, the barn burner, Cecil Collins. I mean, you know them all. I mean, it's just been incredible results. And there's only one time in my lifetime when I've seen LSU go to Jordan-Hare Stadium and beat Auburn by double digits. It was 1998. And Terry Bowden was on his way out, and LSU ended up not having a great year that year. They ended up being a 4-win football team. They went 4-7. But they beat Auburn 31-19 at Jordan-Hare Stadium. And but I mean, every other game that I can think of, certainly since the divisional alignment with East and West, and LSU playing Auburn every year, which wasn't always the case, you just have close games. I mean, the interception game when LSU lost at Auburn in 94, the barn burner where they won in 96. I mentioned the 98 game where LSU won, but from that point on, 2000, Nick's first year, they got dusted at Auburn. 2002, in a drizzle at Jordan-Hare Stadium, LSU got routed. 04 was the Ronnie Prude leverage game, the 10-9 game. 2006 was the 7-3 game with the Phantom PI. 2008, LSU won in dramatic fashion when Jarrett Lee threw a touchdown pass to Brandon LaFell late in the fourth quarter to win it and bring on a comeback for LSU that day. 2010, they lost the Cam game. 2012 was Auburn's worst team. Literally Auburn's worst team in the history of their program, where they were winless. They were 0-8 in the SEC, and they fired Gene Chizik 2 years after winning the national championship. That Auburn team in the 2012 LSU Auburn game, I want to look up the final score, but I think it was 12-10. I mean, it was a heinous football game where that was the infamous it was 12-10 was the final. The infamous, just punt it again when Les Miles said, with that defense, just punt it again, because he knew Auburn couldn't move the ball. So they were content just to run it, punt it, and go 3-and-out, punt it, play defense. Just haven't seen LSU go and rout Auburn at Jordan-Hare. So I'm hesitant to just think that's going to be easy on Saturday. But one thing that certainly has gone LSU's way is an injury to Auburn's center, Tate Johnson. Here was Brian Harsin on Monday with the update.
Tate Johnson
So he was injured in the last game, and he will have surgery on Thursday. So it should be 6 to 8 weeks. It could be season ending. He'll have surgery on his elbow this Thursday. So we'll work through replacing him and what we're going to do on the offensive line this week in practice.
Okay, I'm going to give you some context on that in a second, but one more from Harsin on how they're going to replace Tate Johnson.
Jaleel came in and played. It was unfortunate, too. It was just what happened to Tate, kind of on a scramble right there, and the guy just hit his elbow. That happens, and so he got banged up pretty good, obviously. But Jaleel, and then we'll move some guys around. We'll take a look at it. Avery Jernigan has also played center for us, so we got to figure that out with the best 5 and what that's going to look like. And there might be some rotation in there, but that'll be what we do come Tuesday and Wednesday, and just really try to sort that out and figure it out by Thursday, so we can get really quality reps, on that final practice on Friday before we go into the game.
Y'all know that old Mike Detillier line. The week a team loses its starting center, they fail to cover more than 80% of the time. LSU's a 9-point favorite in this ballgame. And when you talk about Auburn, TJ Finley is expected to practice this week. Robbie Ashford started against Mizzou. Finley's expected to practice. Not sure if he'll play, but Brian Harsin did. Brian Harsin didn't rule out the possibility of a 2-quarterback system. But you look at Auburn right now, and it is a lot of dysfunction on that football team, which would serve to benefit LSU. Now, specifically with that matchup at center. So Nick Brahms, that name may sound familiar. Nick Brahms was going to use the COVID year and come back for a 6th season. He started 33 games at Auburn as their center. He was a veteran player who ultimately his body just broke down. He had knee surgery. He missed the bowl game, the Birmingham Bowl last year, had knee surgery, was trying to come back for a 6th season, and right before the season started, just tapped out, took a medical redshirt of retirement, just retired from football because of injury. That was right before this season started. So Brahms, who had started 33 career games at center, retires. That moved Tate Johnson up. Tate Johnson did not play at all in 2021. So you're talking about a guy who has been around the program but had not played. So Tate Johnson starts the first 4 games of the season. Now he's injured, which means Jaleel Irvin steps up. Jaleel Irvin's the one that went in for Johnson when he got hurt against Missouri. So that's basically your 3rd center. Irvin is a 5th-year guy who's made 1 career start. And it was last year in the Birmingham Bowl when Nick Brahms got hurt. Irvin started at center in the Birmingham Bowl. So he's in his 5th year, 1 career start. We can look at what these two teams are, but I really don't care right now what we say. We could go back to the spring, to the summer, to fall camp, and over and over and over again, we universally said LSU's strength is their defensive front. Now, even without Mason Smith, that is maintained to be true. LSU's rush defense is 39th in the country, and LSU is 29th in sacks, averaging nearly 3 sacks a game. So LSU's defensive front 7, as much as we've thought about, how, and we've talked about how good they are, it's borne out through 4 games. After the first half against Florida State, when LSU's defense put the clamps on Florida State in the second half, blew out Southern, shut out Mississippi State in the second half, and then shut out New Mexico for the entire game, LSU's defense has lived up to the billing so far. And especially that defensive front, which has been so good. The other thing that is so important to remember is not only has LSU's defensive line been really good, Auburn's offensive line and their ability to run the ball has been really bad. Auburn, as rushing offense, is 57th in the country. Auburn's sacks allowed 112th. In 4 games, they've allowed 12 sacks. That's an average of 3 a game. They are terrible at protecting their passer. So you're talking about LSU's strength on Auburn's weakness. Auburn's strength is Tank Bigsby and Jarquez Hunter. Like, they're two running backs. They don't have good weapons and athletes on the outside, and they have not shown an ability to throw the football and get the ball to their weapons on the outside, which has allowed really good defensive fronts to load up to stop the run, and by and large, they've been able to do that. So I don't know why it would be any different for LSU. And yes, there's no Mason Smith, but I want to talk about Mekhi Wingo again. And we've made this point a bunch. But Mekhi Wingo came on this show after he committed to LSU, and I asked him point blank, what is your strength? And he said interior pass rush. That's his strength. Number 92, the thing he does well is just blow up the launch pad. And he's low to ground. He's won all the strength awards and everything like that. You Iron Tiger and everything. And he has shown, since Mason Smith has gone out, his ability to do just that. Against Mississippi State, when LSU came up with back-to-back 4th-and-1 stops, it was Mekhi Wingo who blew up the play. Now you're talking about Mekhi Wingo going up against Auburn's third center, who started one career game on an offensive line that's not very good and has not really been able to pave the way for a running game. That is a massive, massive edge to LSU on Saturday. If you're going to go to Jordan-Hare and win this football game, you got to be good enough in the trenches. Now, I have my concerns about LSU's offensive line against the Auburn defensive front, and we'll talk about that as the week goes along as well. But LSU's defensive front seven is drastically better through 4 games than Auburn's offensive line and running game have been. That is not even debatable. So you never want to see a guy get injured. But at that position, at center, who makes up the battery. I mean, think about what we've seen with LSU. Think about the issues that LSU had with Garrett Dellinger, snapping the ball in the opener against Florida State, the protections, you make the move to Charles Turner, you have all the procedure penalties you've had these past few weeks with not getting cadence and timing, guys jumping off sides. Auburn's about to go through that as well. Now, in the 5th game of the season, you're putting a new center in who started one career game. And here comes LSU in this defensive front seven. That becomes a massive advantage for LSU in this ballgame. And when you talk about offensively, LSU protecting the football the way that they have so far this year, you can really start to see why LSU is favored the way they are in this football game. Again, on paper, I get it. I get why LSU is favored in this football game. I've just seen enough of this series over the years to know that it usually is never easy, especially when you play at Jordan-Hare. It's just the way that this series historically has gone. We'll see on Saturday at Jordan-Hare Stadium, but Auburn's going to be down their starting center, Tate Johnson, who was their second-string center, who became the starter, and they'll be relying on Jaleel Irvin most likely, a 5th-year player who's made one career start, and is going to be giving it a go against this LSU defensive front, which has been awful active so far to start this season. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. 29 offices across 11 different states. You know where to find them. They're online at Michelli.com. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, celebrating 75 years in business. I encourage you all the time, and this does happen often, where people will go to the Michelli website and say, I didn't realize you did that. Because most people know Michelli for scales. They're our nation's largest distributor of scales, and they're based right out of New Orleans in their Harahan office, and they've grown for 75 years, which is awesome. But if you want to see a list of what they do, installations, calibrations, repairs, preventative maintenance for scales and measurement equipment, Michelli does all of it. You can even ship your equipment to them. They can swing by and pick up your equipment, and they also do on-site calibrations if you have equipment that can't leave the job site. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. They are an ISO 17025 accredited laboratory. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad to have you aboard with us here. If you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate that. Please smash the like button. It's where all of our shows air live, including Scone and Tea, Whiskey and Wine post-game, Eagle 98.1 Game Day. So we appreciate y'all for watching us on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. We'll knock out a quick break, come back. I do want to talk a little bit. Ken Dorsey has spoken out about his tantrum, the Bills offensive coordinator, which many of you have seen the viral video now of him losing it in the press box. He has spoken out about that tantrum and apologized for it. I don't know why, but we'll get to that. Sean Salisbury in 26 minutes from right now. Glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Miller Lite has more taste and only one more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shopper style.
Oh, yeah!
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana, call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Is Aaron Judge ever going to hit 61? What do you think, Muse? Does he do it?
He's got 9 games left, right? They got 9 to play. No, yeah, I think he does. I think he gets it.
Paulie, do you think he hits 61?
Oh, yeah.
What about 62?
Yeah. No,
I say yes.
Yeah.
He's on a 6-game drought.
It's a lot.
He actually didn't hit his first homer of the season until the 6th game. And his longest drought of the season is 9 games. That was during the woeful stretch that they had back in August. It was, let me see where, I think that, yeah, here was the stretch. From August the 13th through, it was August the 13th through August the 21st. So he homered again. So he homered on the 12th, 8-12 against Boston, and then went on a 9-game streak, didn't homer again until 8-22 against the Mets. So his longest streak of the season was 9 games. He is currently on a 6-game drought. He homered against Pittsburgh on 9-20. So he has not homered now for 6 consecutive games. So he's been sitting on 60 for 6 games. So he's game 154 is tonight. So here's what's interesting. He hit 60 in fewer games than Ruth did, than anybody. He hits legitimately. He hit 60 in fewer games than Ruth or Maris did. Ruth did it in 155. On the last day of the season, Maris hit 61 on 162 on the final game of the season. So if Judge is going to play 154 tonight, so if he hits number 61 tonight or tomorrow, it will be, he will have broken Ruth's record in fewer games than Babe had in a season, essentially. He would have hit 61 in as many games as Babe Ruth would have had, whereas Maris had the asterisk for a while because he took him 162. So you're getting to that point now where you kind of got to do it in these next 2 days. There's going to be the people out there. I think there always will be the yeah buts because of the steroid era and everything like that. I'll reiterate my stance on this. The steroid era, the record can be what it is, and you can acknowledge it as such, and also have the reality that those records were not obtained or achieved legitimately. We all know what happened in that era, and there are only 2 men who have ever legitimately, without the help of performance enhancers, hit 60 home runs in a season, and that's Babe Ruth and Roger Maris. So once about every 50 years, one of these guys comes along. So it may never happen again in my lifetime. I mean, I'd have to live to be 90 to see this happen again. So, I'm going to enjoy it and enjoy watching history, and it's remarkable. We're going to watch a guy likely win the Triple Crown and set the legitimate home run mark and have the greatest offensive season ever, and then probably go get paid by somebody else because I don't hope the Yankees are going to give him what he wants. And I would be devastated if that happens, but it very well could. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Tell you every day, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Y'all check out the website. Remember, it's a good time to remind you, I guess, with Hurricane Ian bearing down, you have 2 years from a storm date to file an insurance claim for roof damage. So if Ida impacted your area a year ago, you have a little less than a year remaining to file an insurance claim, but it's not too late. So with all the hullabaloo last year after the storm, you said, I'm going to wait. No worries. We'd love to help facilitate that now. Hudco Roofing, go to the website right there on the homepage. You'll see where it says get your free inspection. It'll take you 30 seconds. 30 seconds to fill out that form. We'll get in touch with you, and we'll organize to have someone arrange to have someone come give you a free, no obligation roofing inspection. Hudco is Louisiana's first and only Louisiana-based, certified, fortified roofing company. Fortified roofs can get you up to a 52% discount on your insurance. It's Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. One of the viral scenes from Week 3 in the NFL was Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey absolutely going ballistic in the press box in the final sequence of the game when the Bills lost to the Dolphins on Sunday. I'm trying to see if it was, I think it was somebody who very wisely put their hand in front of the camera. Pull this up, Paulie, please. Thank you. So Dorsey throws his headset. He throws all his papers. He's going ballistic. He's hammering the table. The funny part about it is the other coaches are just like looking down at the field. Like nobody else is actually reacting to him losing his mind. I think that's someone who put their hand in front of the camera. Is that what happened? Was that your read on this, or was that one of the papers he threw that ended up in front of the camera?
I think that was one of the papers that he threw.
See,
it looks like he threw it towards the camera.
There was this idea that there was somebody sitting next to him. You can see it almost looks like a hand. Like, watch it. It almost looks like a hand that comes in the way of the camera. When he throws the paper, it looks like someone's hand. So they were covering up the camera because they knew he was being filmed right there. So whether it was the paper or a hand, whatever it was. Ken Dorsey went on Tom Brady's podcast and had this to say. I lost my sheet. Had this to say about throwing the headset and all this stuff.
It was a intense game. It was a passionate game. I'm up in the box. I'm watching my guys down there just give us everything they possibly have in them with effort and from start to finish, playing 90-something snaps in a game. And, it was a playoff atmosphere. A lot of credit to the Miami Dolphins. And obviously we weren't on the winning end of it. So it's frustrating and reacted that way. And obviously that's something that I'm definitely going to learn from. I don't ever want to take the passion out of the game. We're all in this to win football games for the Bills, for our fans. And we're going to give them everything we got, but it's something I'm going to learn from and make sure, it's a correct move forward.
What are you going to learn from? You got pissed and you threw a bunch of papers. One time in here, I got pissed and I threw a chair against the wall. Like, who cares? Like, who cares? Do you care that this guy threw a tantrum?
No.
Like, make this the poll question then. Make this a poll question. Do you care that Ken Dorsey threw a tantrum in the press box? If anything, I would say people actually loved it. Like, that's one thing that fans want. Fans want to know that players and coaches have as much give a damn as they do. One of the things that's hardest for fans to watch every game is after the game when teams to come together to do their handshakes and everything, and the dudes that just lost are smiling. And it's not that they're smiling about the loss, but that, they'll see their buddies, maybe guys they played college with or whatever. You're dapping them up, you're exchanging jerseys. Like, you just lost. As a fan, you're miserable, you're crushed, your week is ruined, and then dudes on your team are smiling and have a good time. I'm not saying they don't care, but you can be cordial with the guys on the field. Anyway, point is, fans just want to know that players have as much give a damn as they do. So watching Ken Dorsey slam stuff in the press box the way he did was actually pretty cool. By the way, here's what was Tom Brady kind of joking with Ken Dorsey about the tablet, because Tom Brady himself was the one out there on the sideline breaking tablets.
Bills are always trying to do what you do, aren't they?
That's right, and I'm not the only adult in the entire league that's throwing temper tantrums. So thank you, Ken, for taking me off the hook.
Can you describe the moment, what that's like, where there's just that frustration sits in? Because if ever a guy could relate, it's you to what Ken Dorsey did.
Oh, I know exactly what he was feeling. Absolutely. Well, there's so much emotion. You feel like you're in a battle out there, and it's a physical battle, and it's just you got to get the emotion out. And I know it should be poised, and yeah, there's moments, and sometimes it just boils over. I'd rather have it boil over on the sideline than on the field, and sometimes it's a little bit of both. So it's an emotional game. We've seen, again, look at sports, look all around, Zinedine Zidane headbutted the guy, and he got Mike Tyson bit Evander Holyfield's ear off. I mean, there's so many. I've seen some of those iconic sports rants that are, some of the greatest things that you'll ever see on the internet from the coaches and the players. And, it's just sometimes our emotions get the best of us.
It's a human thing. Stop trying to make them emotionless robots. I don't want Ken Dorsey to apologize and never do that again. I want Ken Dorsey to throw temper tantrums and throw papers and punch desks and things like that. It's a human thing. As a fan, you want to see more of it. So good for you, Ken Dorsey. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out our final break here of hour number 2. Muse Love Tigers and the Pros, and we come back at AFR.
AFR.
Come on over to Corval Toyota and meet with a sales specialist to build your new Toyota. It's easy and stress-free. Or if you're looking for a pre-owned, we have a wide variety. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Musso has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Started off with some Monday Night Football from last night on the New York Giants side. It's where you find Cordell Flott, his first year in the league there. 4 total tackles in the game last night, including 3 of them solo. Of course, the Giants fell 23-16 to the Dallas Cowboys. Last night in Major League Baseball, Kevin Gausman got a no decision after the Blue Jays beat the Yankees. Gausman, 6 1/3 innings in the game, 6 hits, 2 runs, walked 1 and struck out 7, 94 pitches, 68 of those across the white, 4 strikes. This continues a really solid season for Kevin Gosman. And then earlier today, Matt, how about this? Mondo Duplantis' world record pole vault that he set back in July in Eugene, Oregon, 20.37 feet, has now officially been ratified and is recognized as the official world record. Took a little bit. I mean, Mondo kind of kept breaking the record, his own record over and over again. Been a minute. They took the time, ratified it. Now officially world record holder, Mondo Duplantis.
Who was born in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Yeah, that's not disputed by anybody there.
Yeah. But he competes for Sweden.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You know where to find them. 2 locations in Baton Rouge, corporate in Bocage, and in the Mall of Louisiana. Gentlemen, if you're about to pop the question or thinking about it, not sure about buying a diamond because you've never done it before, no worries. Lee Michaels can help. They want to be your jeweler for your life. Every time you may need that special piece of jewelry to thrill her, Lee Michaels can help. LMFJ.com. You'll always get the Lee Michaels experience. LMFJ.com. For Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Tuesday show is brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Here comes SportsCenter. Get you caught up on national headlines. Sean Salisbury is next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. When I say name brand tires at wholesale prices, I'm talking about the best tires on the road. Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Firestone. Name brand tires that you know. And they're going to sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. That's what differentiates Shawbills. They'll sell you the best tires cheaper than the box stores, cheaper than the membership clubs, cheaper than other tire stores, and they're going to find ways always to get you the best price. Maybe it's with great deals from the manufacturer coupled on top of their in-house deals. Ask about the Shawbills credit card. They'll always save you money when you use the Shawbills credit card. So learn more at ShawbillsTire.com or schedule service online, shop tires online. It's all there at ShawbillsTire.com. 17 locations across South Louisiana. The newest location is there in Denham Springs. You know where to find it. ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Giants leading receiver Sterling Shepard will miss the remainder of the season with a torn ACL suffered in last night's loss. Cowboys starting quarterback Dak Prescott, inching closer to a return, had surgery to remove stitches on his injured right thumb, told ESPN's Lisa Salters he could be back in a couple of weeks and is not ruling out this Sunday's game against Washington as a possible return. First Take host Stephen A. Smith.
When Dak is ready, you play Dak. Now, you don't rush him back. You make sure he's 100% if you win a football game. But we know Cooper Rush ain't no damn Dak Prescott. Let's not get that twisted. We understand that that's not the case.
Stephen A. on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Dak's return to action is predicated on his grip strength. An independent accountability resolution process hearing panel concluded that Memphis basketball coach Penny Hardaway did not violate any NCAA rules when he provided benefits to 3 prospective student athletes because of his long-standing charitable efforts in Memphis. The Tigers were placed on 3 years probation today and fined, but they did not receive a postseason ban. The benefits were provided in 2017 before Hardaway became Memphis's head coach.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay, and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces? Come join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3 off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. About that time, we do it every single week. Spending a solid 30 minutes talking football with our buddy Sean Salisbury. He's on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Thanks as always, man. How are you?
My pleasure, brother. I'm doing great. Good to be on with you.
Man, I wish we were talking under better circumstances with the Saints, but back-to-back-to-back weeks, and a lot of it's looked the same. Sean, let me ask you, man, when you watch this team right now, it's a mess offensively until the fourth quarter. We're having the conversation about Jameis. We know he's got the injury. At what point, if you're Dennis Allen, do you make a change and go to Andy Dalton?
When he keeps putting your team in a bind early in games. Now, you look at the raw numbers at the end. Yeah, threw for 350 yards.
Yeah.
And I watched every snap of the game, Maddie. I get to the point where sometimes I have to go back and look at the stats of the game, but I can see with the naked eye, run defense needs to get better against Carolina and some big plays in the game. But you can't make those mistakes. When you turn it over as a team 3 times, you give up almost 5 yards a rush. But in the Jameis case, it just, and I get the injury, but here's what the key is: you're out on the field. I understand it, but in truth, if you really look deep, and it's never personal, it's just looking at the game itself. Isn't this who he is? Isn't this who he's been his whole career? And listen, I want to root for him because I know how hard he's worked to overcome injury, how hard he's worked to get rid of the stigma of
being an interception, big play guy you like, but an interception guy as well that, makes your jaw drop down because he makes throws, and he did it in this game too. You're like, damn, this guy can rip it, and he's always been like that. Yet then you'll come back and you'll say, where are you throwing it? And so I understand the injuries, but you still throw it that many times, you pile up yards. Unfortunately, when you play, even if you're hurt, that's how we judge you. And nobody 7 games in is going to say, hey, remember that loss? That doesn't count because we have win-loss, and a couple guys were hurt, and our quarterback wasn't healthy, but he played category. We don't have that. And I'm going to say something that I'm not sure that I even like saying. I don't know if you can win a Super Bowl with him because of the bind he puts you in with turnovers and careless mistakes. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about anybody.
Sure.
And I know he's gifted. And like I said, I root for him. Anybody that's gone through what he's gone through then has to make a comeback and prove to the world that he's not a turnover guy and that he can overcome injuries that suck, and it does suck. But he is who he is at this stage of his career. And the inability for the Saints this year in that offense to not come out of the locker room smoking is a problem. And they're not good enough offensively. Even though they got talent, they're just not good enough. Everybody's got skill set to constantly spot teams' turnovers and points and then have to chase you down. It becomes too big of a burden, and then the burden grows for the defense to have to play, well, like you're a Super Bowl team every single week for 3 quarters until the team wakes up. Jameis is a really good player and an extremely gifted guy, and I think he's got, and has been from people I've talked to that have been on a team of his or coached him or been around him, tremendously high football IQ. So all those things are there, but sometimes in your DNA that you're great at times and you're careless at times, and when those two come together, it's really, really hard to sustain consistent great football. They'll win, but can they win enough to get to February? Too careless too often, and all I got to judge is when he's on the field, not on the sideline. And when he's on the field, if they start slow again, you have to consider what's going to give you a spark.
What about Tampa? I mean, that offense is brutal right now as well. What's going on there?
Well, look at the personnel. If I take away Kamara, Thomas, Olave, and Jarvis Landry, and 3 of your offensive linemen, and ask you to, and your best your best Hall of Fame player retires on offense, those are all offensive weapons.
Right.
And they are struggling to score points. And you just knew when Brady came out on the final drive that he was going to put him in position. They're not real good offensively by any stretch of the imagination. Their defense is keeping them in games, and Brady's obviously good enough to get guys who, quite frankly, are your 5th, 6th, and 7th, or 4th, 5th, and 6th receiver playing. So Tampa, they're not winning a Super Bowl with this roster right now offensively either. Now defensively, like the Saints, they're going to keep you in games all the time. And the difference between Tampa and New Orleans is the quarterback's better in Tampa, even at 45 years old, because he protects the ball better. But there's not much separation. There's a little bit of disorganization offensively, getting people lined up, and you can't be wasting, clock time and taking penalties late. And this is not typical of their type of team, but they're great for they're fortunate they got defense. But when you take away a retirement in an offensive lineman, 2 injuries, all those receivers. And it's not to make excuses because Brady's overcome those things, but look around the league at all these great teams look at Miami and Philadelphia and what weapons are doing for them. At some point in time, when you take away that many players, you're going to struggle, but they have got to get healthy. I know Evans will be back after the suspension, but they've got to get right at some point because there's too many good teams in the league. And every time we question at some point when they get healthy, they'll move the football because they can run it too. But right now, when you can key on a run game, it's very difficult to run the ball effectively on a regular basis. But their excuse is they are depleted with weapons. The New Orleans Saints have some pretty good players still on their offensive roster.
It's funny. My notes, if you were sitting next to me looking, I have Dolphins 3-0, Eagles 3-0. Are these two teams legitimate contenders in their respective conferences?
Oh, there's no question.
Okay.
Yeah, to me, there's no question. Now, let's look at this from 2 perspectives. One is, let's say you and I are on the college football, but the NFL committee were like every week, like the Heisman Trophy. We look the Heisman Trophy watch. Who jumped up this week? Hendon Hooker for Tennessee. And when we're judging teams, all right, who's the 5th team in the country this week? So basically, from the college football committee doing it for the NFL, the number 1 seeds in both division and both conferences are Philadelphia and are Miami. And let's look at Miami. They came out and they've beaten in the last couple weeks. They took the Baltimore Ravens, came from behind and beat them. I'm trying to think who they beat in their opener. They beat Buffalo in their game, obviously, last week down in Miami.
Yeah, the Dolphins beat the Patriots in week 1.
The Patriots, right, which is, while they're not a loaded team, we know that matchup. So what everybody told us, the Buffalo Bills are the most dominant team in football, and rightfully so from what we've watched. And they've had a couple in Micah Hyde, and, obviously Tre'Davious White in the secondary last year. So they've had a little bit of depletion. They go down to Miami. It's hot. Miami deals better. Tua's efficient. They don't have to throw it much, and they really haven't got awesome run game going yet. And Josh had to throw, 60-plus times. They win a game. So how can we not 3 weeks in say Mike McDaniel's job, what he's done? Their defense is, flying around. They held that team down to, less than 20 points this past week. And Tua is throwing the ball on time, accurate, keeping people protected with the football. And so when you have a weakness that may be considered he doesn't have an overpowering arm, what he does do is his timing, and you guys have seen this in New Orleans when a guy's got impeccable timing and throws people open to tight windows with accuracy, look what happens. And they got playmakers. Philadelphia, same way. And Jalen Hurts is actually playing – he's one step different because he can beat you with his legs, and that's not to his overall strength. But Jalen Hurts now has got to the point where if you got to throw it 35 times, he can throw it 35 times, and his game's improved every year. Their defense, 9 sacks, they're flying around. They've got every week it's somebody different on the perimeter making a position. Yeah. Look at the NFC. Are you sold completely on Green Bay? I'm not yet. I know they got the quarterback. Tampa's going through theirs. The Rams have at times floundered around. Look at the San Francisco 49ers. They can't score. The NFC, the Vikings are up and down. The NFC is everywhere. And in the AFC, good. Buffalo, really good. Kansas City, Chargers, all 3 got beat this week. Jacksonville waltzes in. So you look around, I actually think that, yes, now, and as far as sustaining, as long as they're healthy, what about them says you can't sustain it? I know people are going to try to put it on the quarterback, but I can make the argument, and a clear one, that the MVP in the AFC and the MVP in the NFC is Tua and Jalen Hurts to this point in the season.
That's crazy to think, man. Someone asked me this week my biggest surprise in the NFL. I said the Raiders at 0-3. Do you have a biggest surprise so far through 3 weeks?
I think for me it's the Raiders, and I'm a lifelong Raider fan, and how bad they are. Their losses just aren't, oh, what a bummer. And I know they got close to Tennessee and had to fight their way back in the game. They are just a hard watch, and they're all over the place with penalties and turnovers and getting people involved. It doesn't look like whatever culture change they were trying to make has happened. And whenever you have an owner head coach meeting in the first 3 weeks of the season, things aren't good. So I don't like what I'm seeing in a lot of different ways of buying in. And I'm with you 100%. And I can also tell you, on as far as surprise, just the way they're playing and the quantum leaps Trevor Lawrence has made, I really like the way Jacksonville is going about their business with a new head coach who's got experience, and then had dirt kicked in his face after, they win a Super Bowl and they struggle and he gets fired and takes time off to kind of reevaluate, and here they are. So, yeah, I would say those are probably the 2 for me, but the Raiders, as far as surprised bad. And I'll tell you another one I'm surprised at, how, even though they're 2-1, how putrid the Denver Broncos offense is. 9 straight 3-and-outs. They're awful, and Russell Wilson right now is a mere shell of his former self. Now, we'll find out if he can earn the 260, but I got news for you. There's 15 to 18 quarterbacks in this league. I'm jumping on instead of him right now. And he's got to pick it up, and so does that offense, because they're bad. They're fortunate their defense is playing really good football.
Yeah, that was a rough watch on Sunday night.
That's a horrible. It'll make you hate football. That game would make you hate football, brother.
Sean Salisbury is our guest. One of the reasons we love Tuesdays. We'll knock out a quick break. We'll continue with Sean when we come back. We'll talk a little college. LSU's made it 3 in a row. Now they had 2 Auburn. What the world's going on at Auburn? We'll get Sean's take. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. You know where they are. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Segan near Airline. If you're heading toward Airline from I-10, it's on the left, almost till you get to Airline. LA-16 in Denham. You know where they are on LA-16 in Denham. There's not another garden center within a 4-mile radius. Mid-City on Donmore. You turn off of Florida onto Donmore, it's on the right. And the garden center on Greenwell Springs. If you're on Greenwell Springs, heading out of Central toward Baton Rouge, it's on the right. You just can't miss it. It's Clegg's Nursery. Y'all, it is incredible. Fall is here, y'all. It's time. Fall bedding plants, your fall vegetable gardens, your fall trees. It's time to plant them. They have all of the great supplies that you need if you need to add some mulch. If you just need to get in the garden to plant those fall plants to add those fall colors, the earth tones, the browns and greens to your garden, you can do it right now. If you want to just go pull weeds or add mulch, just get dirty, get in the garden. Clegg's can help you do it. Any of the 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Buy local, shop local for 60 years. It's Clegg's Nursery.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off MSRP on a new 2021 Ford F-150. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, we continue with Sean Salisbury. Convo brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. 9 different IIHS top safety picks. That is the highest safety designation. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, shop online at southpointvw.com. Then go test drive one, Airline just north of Highland. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? Sean, let's turn the page. We'll talk some college football. LSU's won 3 in a row. And man, they have just clearly improved from week 1 to now. Now they head to Auburn, who looks kind of like a mess. When you look at this game, even though it's historically close, how do you measure, Sean, an us-sending LSU and an Auburn team that, man, they play hard, but, man, they just look bad? Did we lose Sean? Let's see if we can get back on the phone. I don't know if we may have lost Sean there. I want to ask him about LSU Auburn. Oh, we got it? Okay, sorry about that. Sean, I was asking, how do you try to make sense of LSU Auburn when LSU it's got its issues clearly, but is ascending, and this is an Auburn team that is just not very good.
They're not. They're bad. It's a bad football team. Now, if you haven't watched them, look at the record. They've played bad teams. They should have got beat last week. But they beat San Jose State and somebody else at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, Mercer.
Yeah, Mercer. and Penn State, curb stomped them. So, they beat LSU. They could be 4-1, and it is the ugliest and worst 4-1 for a Power 5 program in the country. For a pretty storied program and a team that's used to running the ball and winning, they're having the same problem too. They can't come out now for them. They can't come out at halftime and do it. I watch them in the second half. They're brutal. They can't. Their quarterback situation is up and down. They're playing two quarterbacks. In fact, they got to their fourth quarterback, if I'm not mistaken, this past weekend because of a banged up. They're depleted on the offensive line. I mean, everywhere you look, and I'm trying to figure out, because he's been a good coach in the past, it just looks to me, I don't know how much buy-in there is with Brian Harsin right now. It's weird. It is. This program, you don't normally go into a game saying if you play good football, you'll beat them down. I mean, because Auburn's competitive, and I know this is a competitive series. I get all that. But if anybody that's watched Auburn this year, they'll bore you to death. They should not be 3-1, and they don't scare anybody. Now, it's still college football. You know how guys can get up and somebody can get hot, but bad second-half team. They flounder around in games and let teams that shouldn't hang around, and they got beat by a better football team earlier. So I don't know if there's much to like, and I haven't paid much attention defensively to their team because of the competition, but I know that up front you can challenge them and move that line of scrimmage with the depletion in the offensive line, and they don't dominate the run game like we're used to Auburn doing it, and they don't seem to have a rhyme or reason or an identity right now. And you get up on them and make them chase in the second half, chances are it's going to be a long game for the Tigers. Auburn meaning.
Sean, we've looked at, October for LSU is Auburn, home against Tennessee, at Florida, home against Ole Miss. So, this is the make or break 4-game stretch to determine if you're going to be a good football team this year. How good can this LSU team be if they keep improving?
We're going to find out. I think we know what Brian Kelly, we know how good a coach he's been, Maddy, in the past. We know, and it takes a minute for guys to get the guys you want, to get the quarterback rolling the way you want. And we know that they've got a playmaker at quarterback. See, the one thing about him with his legs and when he's going good, he's dynamic. Now, of course, we've talked about the challenging and vertical passing game and big plays at the perimeter, but he is good enough in these games to keep them in all of them. But when you look at it, think about your easiest game of the group you just mentioned. Is this week?
Yeah, for sure.
Is this week, and normally you'd say, "Ooh, that's 4." Tennessee's a top 10 team, and their quarterback's playing like a Heisman Trophy winner. Ole Miss, we know what Lane's doing. They're playing great football, and they're just waiting for crowds to perk up so they can get some home people, some people at home. And Florida, while after the first game we crowned them and a Heisman Trophy winner, they've come down to earth a little bit, but they are capable of that game. So this is, I don't know if you believe in must wins early, but I think there are some where you say you got to get this one. And it may not be for LSU for they're a national championship team, because they're not right now. But I think for what you're trying to build to test yourself, I think Brian Kelly loves this, because you're going to get a chance to test his team against Tennessee and Ole Miss that are really good. Florida is dangerous because the quarterback's dynamic, and we know that they're well coached. And Auburn, I guess it makes them dangerous because they've been so bad. You're thinking, okay, at what point in time do they actually do something really good? But we're going to find out how good. And I think when at the end of this 4-game stretch in October, once we head into November and Halloween's over, we're going to get a good idea of where their major strengths are, even though we think we know, and where there may be some weaknesses, but it is a tough road. And remember, Ole Miss and Tennessee are going to test your conditioning.
Yeah.
They play fast and they run a lot of plays. So, and heck, I think last week Florida ran like 90-some plays against Tennessee, like 30 more, and Tennessee still beat them. So dangerous. I think we're still in a state of like purgatory, not knowing just where they're going. But it's LSU. They get great football players, and they got a coach who understands winning. So it's going to be give them a minute. I didn't expect them to be a 10 or 9 win team this year.
I agree with that. A&M, I want to switch gears. Talk about another improbable win, but Sean, there's back-to-back wins over ranked teams. And now they go to Starkville, and I know you know Mike Leach well, and Mississippi State is a 3.5-point favorite in this ball game. I'd love to know your thoughts on A&M, which seems to have found itself a little bit here after the App State embarrassment, but may just not be good enough. What do you look at? What's a matchup you look at with this game with Texas A&M going to Mississippi State?
I'm actually two things I want to see for either side. The matchups I'm really curious about. There's always the obvious: can you tackle in space and all the things that we talk about. For me, I want to see how Texas A&M's run defense deals because Leach wants to run it. I say this all the time. I'm anxious to see how they're going to defend spread out sets. And if they can, if at the line of scrimmage, Mississippi State can control the game running the football. And I think the reason why, and Vegas is pretty smart, that this game, and we know Starkville can be a difficult, unique place to play, is I still don't know if Vegas or a lot of people, Maddie, I'll even ask you, and we can both answer it, do you fully trust their offense yet? I'm talking about Texas A&M. Have you come to me either? And so they're capable of going in and putting 16 points on the board and completing 50, and you know how I root for Brad and Max and the whole thing, Johnson, but they're capable of going in and us coming out and saying, again, so I don't trust their offense. The biggest matchup for me is Mike Leach and the protection, but are you going to run the football? Can you run the football? And where's the line of scrimmage? Because if it gets into a throwing contest, Leach will match anybody. He doesn't mind doing it. We've seen that. We've talked about it. But I'm curious where the line of scrimmage for the Texas A&M defense, they're going to have to play as if their offense isn't going to score a lot. That's how I'd play defense like I plan on posting 24 points, and can we hold them down? But it's the physicality at the line of scrimmage. Can you defend the run this week? Because I know what Leach is going to try to do in the pass game. And I'm with Vegas on this. I look at this, and I'm not so sure. And they're starting to get better as A&M. There's no question. But I think this is a dangerous game. If you're got guts as a gambler, I could see why you'd take the favorite at home, or the favorite at home at Mississippi State, because I don't trust Texas A&M's offense yet. I haven't seen enough explosion to tell me that they can go on the road against a good team like that and win.
Sean, I got asked yesterday to give my current Final Four teams, and I picked Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, and I got your Trojans, man. I do too. I think they climbed stylistically their toughest mountain. I know they got to go to Utah, but I think they win that game. Is there a loss on that schedule?
I don't think so. Not if they beat, because this one scared it. We talked about that one made me nervous. Going to Corvallis 3-0, playing good football. It's always dangerous. And I know more about the Trojans now than I did after their previous wins, where they score on 7 straight possessions, and it's easy. They were tested, had to come down and win late in a difficult place to play, which would have been easy to let that one fall and lose that football game, 17-14, and they got pushed to the brink. I liked it, and I found out more about them. If they can handle Utah, which I think they can, because I think their team speed's just a little too much, and I don't think they're going to try to get in a phone booth and battle Utah in a game like that. I think that they'll move it around and try to loosen them up, throwing it, and then mix in the run game, and take it from there, and not allow Utah to play to their strengths when they play them. I don't see a loss. They're not losing to some of these others. They're not losing to Arizona State this week or next week, and it's going to be hard pressed for me to find one if they play really good football. And I think for them, that gut check they had at Corvallis was important. And I'm with you. I got Georgia, who's still the best, even though they didn't play great last week. I pity the team that has to deal with them for the next couple of weeks. But Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, and Ohio State's defense is better this year, I think. And then finally Southern Cal, because I think their path to the Final Four is easier than some others.
Yeah, by the way, Sean, whenever your Trojans match up against either Bama or Georgia, I'm going heavy on the SEC team. I don't think
Guess what, my friend? As a Trojan alum, I am too. Okay.
I mean, but the path is there. I mean, if SC is undefeated, they're in, and I think they're going to be.
We said getting there. Now, you didn't say, Sean, if they have to play Georgia, how you feel. I don't want to talk about that yet, brother.
He is Sean Salisbury on Twitter, @SeanUnfiltered. Y'all give him a follow. You catch him weekday morning, Sports Talk 790 in Houston. You're the best, man. We appreciate you as always.
I appreciate you. Always love this time with you, brother. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. It's our pleasure. That is Sean Salisbury. This is AFR, brought to you by GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. Home buy, refi, construction loans. I want to remind you, look, it's an old adage, like, don't let the increased interest rate keep you away from buying a home today. In many cases, it is still cheaper to own your own home than it is to rent. And you're building equity. You're building wealth. And look, when rates drop, which inevitably they will, refi. GMFS Mortgage can help you through that whole process. Go to the website at gmfsmortgage.com. You'll see the loan officers there at the top of the page, the loan officers tab. Tap the loan officers tab, choose a loan officer nearest you, and get started on that process today with GMFS Mortgage. Voted best place in Baton Rouge to work by the Baton Rouge Business Report. The #1 local lender in Louisiana, number 11 in the country. Hundreds of thousands of Louisiana residents helped, billions in loans closed. It's GMFS Mortgage. GMFSmortgage.com. GMFS Mortgage. Changing lives. We always appreciate Sean Salisbury. A lot of good stuff today. Peter Burns in hour one. Maddy Hudak was with us last hour. I don't know if many of you may not know, and I probably should have reset this when Maddy was here. But Maddy works as a scout, does plenty of great work as a scout in a film study, film reviews. She's certified through the Scout Academy. So a lot of her film study stuff is awesome, and I would highly recommend you go check it out at Saints Wire, the other places where her written work, where you can find it. And we appreciate her for giving us some time in the last hour. If you missed it, we'll get that up on demand as well. And Sean Salisbury, a couple of segments. We do that every Tuesday here, 30 minutes with Sean. We do one NFL segment, one college football segment. We're just so grateful to have him, as an asset and as a resource we can lean on here on AFR. So we appreciate Sean. All right, we'll knock out a quick break. We'll come back. If you want to join us, calls, texts, emails, tweets, lots of ways you can get involved in the show. You can always text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Otter Lock's about 15 minutes away. A ton to do, and glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. And Rouse's has been such an awesome partner of ours. We've got so many events at Rouse's. Of course, every Friday, T-Bob's out at Rouse's on Burbank doing his afternoon remotes. On Saturdays, Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Home all season long is at Rouse's with Hanny and Musso. And, I mean, the whole setup there is phenomenal. They got TVs with games playing. So if you're driving into campus or you're just running the roads on game days on Saturdays, pop on into the Rouse's on Burbank, holler at Handy and Musso there while they're doing Eagle 98.1 Game Day. And, of course, remember, at Rouse's, delivery and pickup options are available. So go to the website or download the app, select your items, your personal shopper will go pick out your items for you. When you pull up, they'll bring them out to you. Or you can have them delivered. You can learn more online or at the Rouse's app. That's Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. At Rouse's, this feels like home.
Come on over to Corval Toyota in Opelousas and meet with one of our sales specialists to build your new Toyota. It's easy and stress-free. Or if you're looking for a pre-owned, we have a wide variety. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas. Happy Town, USA.
Dad!
Kids have staked out their place at Ochsner Medical Complex The Grove, where more than 30 pediatricians and pediatric specialists are all conveniently located under one roof, so you can spend less time driving and more time keeping your kids well.
Yes!
It's no wonder kids call dibs at The Grove. Ochsner Health Center for Children.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt and Hill. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
A little breaking news, which I think you just might find interesting. This is a tweet by AccuWeather. It's a verified account. Breaking weather by AccuWeather. And by the way, shout out to Alan Henderson. Alan Henderson's the one who sent me this tweet. Sunday night's highly anticipated matchup between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs may be moved to the famed Superdome in New Orleans. Again, not confirmed, and not anything from either the Bucs, the Chiefs, or the NFL, or the city of New Orleans, but this is a verified Twitter account with 1 million followers. It's AccuWeather. So, I'm only reading the tweet because it's a very credible source, not an NFL-based source, but a credible source nonetheless. Can you imagine how many Kansas City Chiefs jerseys there will be in the Dome on Sunday night if, in fact, that game between the Bucs and the Chiefs are played in the Dome on Sunday Night Football? My goodness gracious. Like, I am actually, you know what? Hey, you want to go? Muse, you want to go? If they played in the Dome, you want to go Sunday night?
Sure, why not?
Paulie, you want to go Sunday night?
Let's go.
Let's go. I will spring for Chiefs gear for us. I'll buy all the beer. If y'all want to drink, I'll buy the food and the beer. Not for everybody listening, by the way. I'm just talking about for us. Just for us, okay? Not buying beer for the whole Dome. We will go. We will get good seats, and we will curse Mike Evans until I lose my voice again.
So 1 quarter?
Well, I mean, it wouldn't even last a quarter.
Okay.
I mean, as we've seen, like, I use my voice a lot.
That's true.
Right? I use my voice a lot. So when I yell, I lose my voice very easily because I use my voice all the time. So I have to keep it under control a lot. But man, oh man, tell you what. Look, Saturday I got to work, right? You got to work.
Yeah.
Paul, you don't work anymore on Saturdays, do you? Do you work on Saturdays? You do? Are you working this Saturday, Paulie?
I am.
Pre-game or post-game?
Both.
Oh!
Brutal.
All right, we'll take you a nap. Look, the good news is Chiefs-Bucs is Sunday Night Football. Just take a nap. Sleep late.
I can do that.
Sleep on the way.
Sleep on the way.
It's an hour, 15 minutes.
I'll get us an Uber.
Ooh.
I'll get us a car. I'll get us a car to bring us down, drop us, so we can all have our adult fun and nobody's worried about driving. We can have our adult fun. We can go to the game. We can watch, hopefully, Kansas City and Mahomes beat up on Brady and the Bucs. Hand them another loss. Hopefully the Saints have won earlier in the day. Oh,
that'd be nice.
Oh, it'd be so good. Getting fired up about this. Please let this happen. I'm really, really hopeful now that this happens. All right. It's after further review. I dropped my pen. What do I have to do? Oh, yeah. Aesthetic Medicine and Eighth Agent Clinics of Louisiana. I want to get some bold projections here in just a second. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, online, theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com. If you want to look and feel like your younger self, they can help at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Hormone replacement therapy, a simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate. I mean, a once-weekly injection, which is what I get, a once-weekly injection will help you feel like your younger self again, help you sleep better at night, help you wake up with more energy, have energy throughout the day, help you build muscle when you get into the gym, burn fat. It'll make you feel like your younger self again. We all age, and it happens at a different rate in every one of us, so it's not about what your number of your age is. It's about how you feel, and they can help you at the Aesthetic Medicine and Eighth Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online, theantiagingclinics.com. Bowl projections are out. USA Today updated their bowl projections. They've got LSU against Kansas State in the Liberty Bowl. Would you want to see it again?
You know what? I would.
I would, but not this year.
Yeah, that's fair.
LSU at some point, I hope, has their opportunity to absolutely pistol whip Kansas State. I don't know if this is the year that they're going to be ready to do it. Maybe by the time you get to December, maybe. December 28th is the Liberty Bowl. Of note, Georgia, Bama in the college football playoff. Ole Miss as the Sugar Bowl representative. Got some believers. It's knocked down Arkansas, A&M. I'm surprised Tennessee is the one there, quite honestly. Because I think Tennessee is a team that may go through the season and lose only, well, they'll lose to Bama and Georgia. But a 10-2 Tennessee team should be a team in the New Year's Six. Kentucky in the Relia Quest, Arkansas in the Music City, A&M in the Gator Bowl, excuse me, Mississippi State in the Texas Bowl, and Florida in the Las Vegas Bowl.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
Florida against UCLA. You tell me you wouldn't want to go see LSU UCLA again? I want that. Give me all that. Give me all of that smoke right now. Give me Chip Kelly smoke in Las Vegas. It'll be Reliant Stadium, or not Reliant, Allegiant Stadium will be there. I mean, there's 12 UCLA fans. None of them will be at this game. I mean, it will be all LSU fans in Vegas. Give me the Las Vegas Bowl.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
There are 4 teams left out of bowl contention by USA Today. Want to guess?
Let's see. Vandy was one of them.
Yeah.
Mizzou.
Give yourself a ding.
Okay.
You got it right. Give yourself a ding, Vandy.
Mizzou.
Yes.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Yeah.
And the Auburn Tigers.
You got it. How many more weeks does Brian Harsin coach Auburn?
2.
You think he'll coach this week? They'll lose. Georgia, they'll lose. They'll get fired in the open day.
Yeah.
I'm curious if he makes it.
If somehow he makes it past the open date.
No, I'm curious if he makes it past this week.
Oh.
If they lose.
You think they fire him off the LSU game?
It makes so much sense. Had they lost to Missouri, you do it then.
Yeah.
They didn't. But basically what you're saying then is, okay, it's the same thing when they fired Les. When is the right time to do it?
That's
LSU
fair.
fired Ed last year after they beat Florida. So Are you waiting for the awful moment? The open date makes the most sense, but at the same time, man, if you're gonna do it, just do it.
The awful moment would have been last week had Missouri not just been more awful, actually. So it is interesting.
I mean, everyone I know that's close to the Auburn program, I mean, it is an understood reality that had they lost to Missouri, he was going to get fired. And they are what amounted to a missed PAT and some kid reaching the ball.
So bad,
it wasn't fourth down, just hold the ball.
Just step out of bounds right there.
But honestly, I think we talked about it last week. I'm better. I don't want to mess with interim Auburn.
I'm with you.
There's an interim dynamic that I just have no desire to mess with. By the way,
especially in that building.
Yeah, for sure. ESPN did put out their bowl projections as well. It's Bonagura and Schleybaugh that put out their projections. Well, Bonagura has LSU. How about this? LSU in the Gator Bowl. Moving on up. So Bonagura has LSU in the Gator Bowl. Schleybaugh has LSU in the Music City Bowl. Now, but here's the kicker. I don't think Bonagura knew the assignment because he also has LSU in the ReliaQuest Bowl.
Oh.
He placed LSU in 2 bowl games.
Wow.
What an
okay.
idiot.
That'd be a first, right? Well, I mean,
No,
college football playoff.
didn't that happen? No. Didn't that happen a couple of years ago where a team played? Wasn't it Rutgers maybe or something that played in
two bowl games?
In the COVID year. They played in
I don't know.
Oh, look this up.
Oh,
for me.
wait.
I got a
Or
break.
did they try?
I got a break. Look that up for me. I'm pretty sure there's a team that played in 2 bowl games. I think it was Rutgers. Do me a favor, look it up. We got to grab a break. We'll get to Otterlocks when we come back. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, Bluebonnet Dine-In, Carry Out, or Delivery via Uber Eats and DoorDash. It's Pluckers. Hey, tonight and every Tuesday, 2 things to remind you about. Number 1, kids eat free. So every Tuesday, the family can go out, eat affordably at Pluckers. Buy your adult entrees, the kids eat free at Pluckers every single Tuesday. And, of course, every Tuesday at the Nicholson location, our guy Hunt Palmer, a.k.a. Hoon Palmario, he has sports trivia. So 5 rounds, live action trivia, test your sports knowledge. Hunt's got you covered. Remember, every team, whether you win or lose a round, every team gets to spin the prize wheel, so you have an opportunity to win something on the prize wheel. If it's food from Pluckers or gift cards from local businesses all over Baton Rouge, it's a great night to get by Pluckers any night of the week. Nicholson, just south of campus. Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Remember at Pluckers if you don't like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
There's no way that's real. That cannot be. There is no way that's real. Oh, my God.
It has to be real, right? I mean, how do you?
No, Paulie, put it up.
How do you stage that? You think he really had someone stage that?
Yes, I think he ate it. All right, so Sharif Ishaq, notoriously bad at his job. Just a terrible, terrible broadcaster. The only thing he's good at is frat names. There's a video. He's outside of the Pelicans facility, and one of the lights, the stand-up lights on a tripod, fell and hit him on the head. Oh, my God. So go look at his Twitter. Just go look at his Twitter. And go look at Sharif Ishaq's Twitter. If you don't have Twitter, trust me, this will go viral regardless. What an idiot. All right, let's do Honor Locks.
Honor Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
Oh, man, that is so good. He ate it. Wow. Honor, what's good, man?
Hey, man. What's going on?
You've got to go look at this tweet.
Sharif?
I mean, he absolutely eats it. I mean, a light falls right on his head.
Go ahead, Sharif. Got a few of them if you're ready.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. Hit me. Yeah, go ahead. But hit me like the light hit Sharif in the head.
All right. The Orioles are still the number one ROI team. You know, a lot of people playing out the string. For all practical purposes, they're out of it. And don't tell them that they go on the road and beat Boston again. Boston's had a rough year. Lusso knows that. But just a little extra juice to the tank. You look at Waka the last. He's been really good this year. But Radish has been just as good as him the last 6 or 7 starts. Give me Baltimore plus 110 on the road at Fenway. Philadelphia and the Cubs, we would lay the run line on the road here, but especially with Wheeler, but the wind blowing in, total is only 6.5. Can't lay the runs, so we will put a Mets-Philadelphia parlay together, say about 137, 140.
All right, Mets and Phillies, okay.
San Diego still needs it, and Snell has been by far their hottest pitcher. He goes tonight against the Dodgers, and Anderson minus 110, 115 with the Padres at home at Petco.
All right, yeah, I'm looking at 115. All right.
And Atlanta on the road. They've only beaten the Washington Nationals in D.C. 17 out of 18 times. Lay the run and a half. They barely squeaked by last night, win by about 15 runs. Atlanta minus 1.5, minus 122 or 125, depending on where you shop there. And one team that's not in contention is Texas plus 170. Seattle's limping to the finish line. Robbie Ray has been inconsistent. We'll take a shot. Plus 170. The Texas Rangers.
All right. So Otter has the Texas Rangers on the money line, the Braves on the run line, the Padres on the money line, Baltimore on the money line, and the Mets and Phillies parlay, money line parlay. Otter, where are you tonight?
Oh, Burnside, that one.
I love it,
Yes,
man.
indeed, right. That's the original Mike Anderson. You know we're starting tomorrow, too, on the Char Grill. Lobster tails, char grilled lobster tails.
Very nice.
Starting tomorrow.
Right.
Yes, starting tomorrow with half bottles of wine. So look, lobster and maybe a little white wine, a little Chardonnay to go with it on Wednesday night. That's our Wednesday night session that starts.
1 minute remaining.
All right. Game Time with Jimmy Out follows us in Baton Rouge. If you're not in Baton Rouge, online at 1045ESPN.com or the Game Time with Jimmy Out Facebook page. Otter, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
All right. Be well. Have a great night. We appreciate certainly our friends at Shoots Electric, CESofLA.com, CESofLA.com. That Shoots Electric. If the power goes out, your Generac from Shoots Electric goes to work like it does at my house. Happened on Sunday. Power went out while I was watching the Saints game. That was actually, I think the Lord trying to bless me not to watch that. But power came back on thanks to my Generac from Shoots Electric. You can get yours as well. CESofLA.com. CESofLA.com for Shoots Electric. Muse, what'd you learn?
Ken Dorsey thinks he needs to be sorry for throwing things.
But he doesn't. Paulie.
Auburn center out 6 day week.
What'd you learn, Matt?
Sharif got hit in the head with a light. I mean, that thing just absolutely waylaid him right in the head.
AFR.
It's so good. You know what? Maybe if Sharif had gone to the Williamson Eye Center, maybe he would have seen that light that was about to fall right on his head. Williamson, I keep watching it over and over again. WilliamsonEYE.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. Call 924-2020, 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. Eye care, eyewear, eye surgery. If you need to have your family eye exams, you can have them at the Williamson Eye Center. They can help you. 7 locations across the greater Baton Rouge area. Newest location in the River Parishes in Lutcher. Eyewear. They have optical shops, so if you need your glasses or your contacts, they can help you there as well. But if you're looking to ditch contacts and glasses forever, the Williamson Eye Center can help. Go for that consultation with Dr. Blake Williamson. Let him tell you if you're a candidate for a refractive procedure that can help you see without contacts or glasses. Call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.